And we are live. All right. Welcome back to Brick Dynasty Live. So if you've ever typed in Lego into TikTok, ever, somehow this man has shown up on your screen. Tonight we have Galen Builds. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
yeah, it's meeting for the second time in 20 minutes. I love it.
Yep.
40
Yep.
minutes. That's great. I like the green room time. It always
Yeah.
confuses
Yeah.
me how to kick things off.
Absolutely. No, it's a good like icebreaker if anything for sure, just to kind of get
Yeah.
like an idea and stuff for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also helpful when you have that extra couple minutes so you don't have the surprise of,
Right.
mic's not working,
Right.
camera's not working.
Yeah. No, I was like pressing around buttons, like, why is this not working? Oh no, figured it out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Since I'm on the road, I was trying to do the green screen thing tonight because I usually have the Lego wall behind me, and this is just
Gotcha. Okay.
gray. And no matter what I did, because I'm wearing all black, I just kind of disappeared. Part of my head
Oh,
movement.
okay.
Whatever. It's I don't need that nonsense.
I didn't realize that was a green screen then, because I seriously thought that was like your legit room when you had all of the trays and everything behind you.
Oh no, that was real.
Oh, okay.
My normal setup is real, but
Gotcha.
this, compared to my normal setup, is just gray.
Right? Gotcha. Okay.
So I was trying to add a little life, but
Gotcha. Good counter to mine.
Yeah.
Good contrast.
Yeah, add a little impact on your end. Although
Yeah.
I don't think that needs any extra help. So
I could use some lighting. I'll admit I could use a few lights in there.
God knows there's enough brands of lighting now.
Yeah. No, there's an abundance for sure.
Yeah. You can just have something hooked up to a remote and change it as you sit there. Timers.
Yep. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah. Some of that stuff is cheap. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But also requires a lot of effort. And if you're putting it on the back of the shelves, I don't know how the hell you even get your arm back there.
I mean, so if I were to add any lights, I've talked about this with some people. I do the puck lighting essentially, where it just has the adhesive, and I would just put it literally in the middle, and then I would just be able to touch it and then turn it on essentially from there. That way I could just have it like, and it would just be battery operated if anything. I don't need to worry about wiring, because if I do have the idea of putting like, what a lot of people put behind like their Calyxes and Billies and things like that, the string lighting, I'd have to remove everything and like redo the whole setup and everything. So that would require way too much work. These are due for a shuffle, because like every year I try to cycle out sets and everything, just because like either I don't want them anymore, or I need to display other sets that are around me that should go behind me if anything. So yeah.
Yeah, well, and if you don't make an adjustment for too long, then the dust becomes a real issue.
Yeah, right. And that is unfortunately a real issue for me. Yep, 100%.
All right, so let's take a ride in the Wayback Machine. What is your Lego origin story? How did you get started?
Yeah, so I got my first Lego set when I was like 3 or 4 years old. This was all the way back in the early 90s. I was gifted. I had Duplo. I have pictures of me playing with Duplo, but my first set that I remember ever having was this like Lego Systems like Fire Station. It was just the coolest thing ever. It had those plastic translucent blue garage pieces that you can like flip up and down with like the rail system. I just love parking the vehicles into that base plate with like the 3 or 4 like different like areas and things like that. Like just very cool old school set. And that pretty much started my love for Lego right there. I got into Star Wars. I got into Arctic. I got Bionicle. I had a bunch of Kingdoms. But I think the theme that like made me truly fall in love was Harry Potter.
Cool.
When they announced that Lego was going to collab with Harry Potter in, I believe, 2001. If you ever had the Lego magazines for kids, they would ask you to like submit your creations and some stuff. I built my own Fox. I built my own like classrooms and things like that, and I submitted them to the Lego magazine, and they would be featured prominently and stuff. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I cannot wait for this stuff to come out, right? And the year that it was announced, my parents were like, okay, so what do you want? I was like, well, I want the Harry Potter stuff. They're like, okay, cool. We can afford like maybe one or two of these. He's like, no, no, you don't understand. I want all of these. And being an only child, I was able to kind of get what I wanted, which helped. They were like, okay, fine. Christmas, Lunar New Year, and your birthday. This is what we'll try to get you what we can. And so I just assumed I was going to get Hogwarts, if anything, and that was cool. But that Christmas, every single set from the first wave of Harry Potter was underneath the tree, and
Wow.
I was the giddiest kid, imaginable. I built everything within like a couple days. Like it was so much fun. A lot of the minifigs are amazing. A lot of the printed pieces. It was just an experience, right? But one caveat that my parents were like, okay, well, you can't do this though. I was like, what's that? You can't put everything together. You know what I mean? Like you can't take it apart and rebuild it. And I was like, then what's the point? It's Lego. I'm supposed to recreate things from my mind. We never got a Diagon Alley. I need to build my own, a leaky cauldron, my own Diagon Alley, and stuff. And it was just one of those things where I was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm still going to take it all apart, build what I want, and I'll build the sets again and stuff. But like I got the Chamber of Secrets the following year. I got a bunch of other Harry Potter stuff. Essentially, I traded good grades for Lego sets and stuff. I had the original Barracuda Bay that came out in the 90s. I apparently had Django Slave 1. I did not know I had that. It took a picture of them sending it to me to tell me that we had that set. I did not know. I had the Morcia Castle from Kingdoms 2. Like I had a ton of stuff, right? I was extremely privileged, spoiled, but I had a ton of Lego. It was the thing I wanted more than anything. Fast forward a few years to high school. You are ostracized for enjoying your hobbies. You had to grow up. You had to get with the times. So this was like 2003. Yeah, 2003, 2004. I got rid of all my Lego. I just gave it away. My neighbors had kids, and I wasn't able to sell anything, so I just gave away everything. I had a ton of Bionicles, I had a ton of good stuff, right? Gems, and that put me into my dark ages right there. And I never really thought about Lego. Like there was some instances where I almost bought a set because it might relate to like a school project, but I just was like, nope. If I buy Lego, I'm going back to being a kid, and I need to grow up. I need to be better. And fast track to 2020. I had been in my dark ages for like 17 years, 15 years essentially. Pandemic hit. I couldn't play my previous hobby because we were in quarantine. I wasn't going to set up Zoom to play Magic the Gathering because we would just be yelling at each other because we didn't know what the cards did and stuff. I bought the New York City skyline, and I got back into Lego as a result. Like I discovered architecture. Star Wars was around, modulars were around, Lego Ideas, which I had never heard of before. There was Harry Potter, Marvel, and the rest is history. I have very specific instances at like stores that like could have changed the course a little bit, where maybe I had the play scale Death Star in my closet still. Like if I had just picked it up that one day, but I thought about Rhett instead. You know what I mean? Like I had to be an adult still. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those things where it was a part of my childhood, not my high school and college years, and then we had the pandemic, and it brought me back into the fold. So yeah.
Man, another pandemic benefit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Man, so okay. Did you really like go 100 miles an hour right when you got back?
No.
Okay.
So I came back specifically in October 2020. Okay. And as we know right now, everything's on sale, everything's retiring. So this was what we talked about earlier, where I like to research. I like to kind of get my information. I learned about retiring Lego in that instance.
Cool.
One trip to the Lego store, one of the employees was like, "Hey, what can we help you with?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just looking for like the Shanghai skyline. I'm looking for the Flintstones Lego idea set because I heard that those were retiring." And the minute
Yeah.
they heard me say the word retiring, they're like, "Can I point you to other sets?" And so this is where that play scale Death Star comes in.
Yeah.
The diner was retiring that year, and I was all like, I can't drop $200, let alone $500 on a Lego set. My budget is like, because that's what I'm comfortable with. I need to think about space and things like that. Like I'm looking at 60 to $100 max because I still have to figure out rent. I got to make sure to feed myself. I buy that Lego set, like that Death Star. Am I gonna build it right there and then, or am I gonna sit on it? You just told me it's retiring, so then the collector mindset kicks in, kind of like, okay, well, maybe I don't sit. I just sit on that, and it spikes, and then I sell it maybe in a year's time. You know what I mean? So, pardon. So it was just like one of those things where it's like, no, no, no. I'll stick to the small stuff. I'll stick to the small stuff. But like, I did dabble in the speculation aspect a little bit because the 20th anniversary run of Star Wars sets were retiring, and I would have not mind owning Boba Fett's Slave One or whatever, and just having that because everybody loves Boba Fett. His Slave One is the most popular ship in Star Wars. There's a 20th anniversary set. It's got that exclusive minifig. I like exclusives. All right, I can spend $120 on this. You know what I mean, and justify that. So I picked up a few odds and ends, but I stuck to the best of my ability on architecture, ideas, and then creator expert before it became like icons, essentially. Like I dabbled a little bit in other things, but I didn't go crazy. But then I saw the sales, and then I started to see the speculation and things like that. And then I'd say it was probably about like 4 to 6 months later where things start to snowball a little bit, where I was like, okay, actually, I think I need to pick up some of this stuff before it's gone. You know what I mean? Like, so it goes back to our conversation about like FOMO and things like that. But the thing is, I wasn't targeting the things that just hit the shelves on day one. This was the stuff that was expected to retire in the next, 6 months or something, and
Yep.
I would like to own it at a reasonable rate, not an inflated rate. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes the perfect sense to me. There are so many sets out all the time.
Yeah.
Why not catch up on the things that are retiring or further along in their life that are 20, 30, 40, 50% off?
Right, exactly.
And
exactly.
just wait it out. Do you need that new release so bad?
Right.
Because you get basically anything. I would pick a UCS set or something.
Right.
The Razor Crest, perfect example. If you say you save $100 on that, that's a whole nother set that you can add to your collection.
100%.
100%. Yeah. And that set's been around, what, 2.5 years, somewhere in there. It's been a while.
Like 3. It's retiring this year, so it's had quite a hefty long shelf life, and it's had its $50, $75, $100 discounts, over the last like 6 to 9 months, especially, right? And we're gonna probably see some of the last best discounts on it before it's gone in the next couple months, if anything. So
yeah, that's you save $100 on that, and you buy $100 set with it,
right?
But when that is on sale, the $100 sets are also on sale for $70.
Right. Exactly. So it has its own snowball effect for sure. Like, I know a lot of people freaked out over like the Lionites Castle that like sold out like last week. I got it. I knew I wanted this set. I'm a huge medieval fan. I like Lord of the Rings and stuff, but like I got it when it initially went on sale. I think it was like 2023, 2022 for $100 off on Black Friday. I just was like, you know what? I don't think there's going to be ever a better discount than me getting it for 25% off from Lego. I'm going to get my points. I'm going to get my GWPs, which I can just offload to somebody else because, one, I wasn't attached to them. Somebody else didn't want to buy into them. And then knocks off another $20, $30, $40 off of my purchase price. You know what I mean? And I get a Lionites Castle out of it. Am I going to build it? Nah, probably not. But I have my Lionites Castle because I didn't have to worry about it. Was it early? Maybe, but I knocked off $100 off of it, and I still got a bunch of benefits out of it. You know what I mean? It's like you said, you have the potential for more free Lego or additional Lego at that point. You know what I mean? Because of
Yeah.
that discount. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a box person by any means.
Gotcha. Yeah.
To me, if you own it for personal, pop it open, you know, enjoy the set.
Right.
To me,
Right.
that's it. But man, that box just does something for me.
Yeah. I had this conversation a couple days ago, I think, where like I don't think I have any intent to build the set, which is very odd. It's the retail space it requires, like to display and things like that. That's the biggest factor
Yeah.
because the shelves behind me are pretty full. I have more shelves over there and in front of me as well. But like, it's that box. I like it. And do I see it as a little bit of a collector's item? Yes, I do. But like, it's because of that box. Like, they didn't do it for a whole bunch of sets. They only did it for 5, right? Like, and 3 of them were sold, mass produced. You know what I mean? Like, and then the rest were GWPs, if anything. You know what I mean? So, are we ever going to get 90 years of play again? No, because that was an anniversary set. It's such a neglected way of selling a product. Because of its visuals. It's a beautiful callback to the original castle in that old yellow border box style, but it's a revamp and a refresh and a facelift with the way it looks currently, as it stands,
Yeah.
and yeah, it just looks nice in the box, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I only keep like maybe 3 or 4 of my boxes. Like I have Apocalypseburg, I've got the Firehouse, and then a few Lord of the Rings sets, but everything else gets tossed essentially for the most part. It's just gone. Takes up too much
Man,
room unnecessarily.
Apocalypseburg is so good. I
It's
love
such a
that.
great set. That's in my top 5 for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
I love that. That was a really fun build experience. The minifigs are the creme de la creme. We'll never get that Harley Quinn ever again. But like the build experience, I love the angles. I love the connecting points. I love the technique of like how we have the Statue of Liberty literally on its side, essentially. Like it it felt like it was way more complicated than it was, and it was just super simple because of those connecting points. And I would like to replicate those, if I can, on future stuff, like
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those sets that your eye almost can't focus on it because there's so many things going on.
yep, yep.
I love that.
They did a really good job. Like that's I think the best Lego movie set ever. Like I don't think anything will like maybe the Sea Cow and maybe Benny Starship, but like I don't think they're nearly as prolific of a build as that essentially. Like that's just so good. Such a great set.
Yeah. And you can make it work with a lot of different settings,
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
absolutely. If you have a Western setup of some kind, like it could be in the background, you know what I mean? Like I think it's hard for like a city, if anything. Like it's a little random. You have to probably have it in the back corner somewhere, like in an uncultivated area, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
But
if you have
in
like
a
a
city
Mad
as a whole.
Max kind of setup, that'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Yeah, for
You
sure,
know?
for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great set. Great minifigs.
Yeah, I kind of like the wild and outlandish. I think that's a good one.
Yep. You wanna know a fun fact about my Apocalypseburg?
What's
This is
that?
gonna throw you for a loop here. And this is a bit of the collecting mentality as well, but also the fact that like this is like my least favorite thing about Lego actually. Just right here. I still have the sticker sheet. I despise Lego stickers. This is my least favorite thing about Lego.
Yeah,
And the fact that I spent so much money on this set and you're asking me to apply some 60 plus stickers on it.
no way.
Outrageous. Absolutely
Yeah,
outrageous. Not gonna happen. Not gonna
yeah,
happen. So yeah.
yeah.
My
That's what I
mine
did with the Mystery Mansion. The only stickers I applied were on the clock
oh
because
gotcha.
they
Yep.
had to be there. But the rest of them, it's the fake broken glass in some of the window
Right,
panes.
right.
I either left the window panes out or just broke the glass. Looks fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't It's my least favorite thing about Lego, probably. And there's a lot more sets coming out now where they don't have stickers, which is fantastic, or there's less stickers than there should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like my firehouse, I didn't put any of the stickers on there, even though there's like only 12 of them. Like that sticker sheet is worth more to me being complete than being applied on a set like that. It's just gonna fade away over time, essentially. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or I can get like specialty printed bricks if I really, really wanted to, because that's also become really popular lately, right? Like with people doing their own custom prints and stuff. So it's like one of those things where it's like I spent so much money on this. In my honest opinion, something like this ruins the value that I'm getting out of it because of the amount of time and effort I have to spend applying these. Because
It's
I build
awful.
a lot of my Lego live. I have to stop and focus on that, and then I go back to doing whatever it is I'm doing, and then it just takes me
Yeah.
out of the whole situation and things like that. So it's Lego, do better.
Well, actually, you say that, and you must have seen the new DeLorean that's coming out.
Yes, yes,
They
yes.
did a great job printing so much of that.
I'm shocked that those translucent like power cell pieces are
Mhm.
going to be printed. I was expecting
Yep.
those to be stickers, but like by that same caveat though, look at like Lightning McQueen. Like I think it was New Elementary who did a breakdown, and they showed both
Yeah.
the model with the stickers and without the stickers. Like if they had just printed the windshield with his eyes at minimum, I could get around the fact that I don't need to apply these stickers. But now I have to apply the eye shield or the windshield literally just to give them eyes, essentially. You know what I mean? And I
Yep.
get it. Lego isn't capable of doing all of this. They've got a process. But at the same time, if other companies are able to do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? We already pay
Yeah.
such a premium for this stuff. You know what I mean? Like just print the pieces, knock on like 5-10%. We're still gonna pay it, but like just print it. Just print it. Make it easier for me.
Well, and the last, what is it, 4 years, speed champs have gone up 40%.
Right, right, right. And the stickers
I,
just keep going up for a lot of those,
yeah.
especially like now that they're doing F1, the sticker sheets for
Yeah.
those are like insane. There's like 25
Yeah.
to 30 stickers for a $26
Yeah.
set. That's insane right there. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. There's something about F1 that just frustrates me to no end, and I don't know why. I I guess I do kind of know why. It because there's F1 in some circles has become like the Funko Pop Labubu whatever, where
Oh,
it's like,
interesting.
oh,
Okay.
suddenly there's this, somehow they made it hip, so let's all gravitate towards that, and it's weird.
I
I
don't
don't
I don't think it's
understand.
that. I think cars. I think just cars are popular. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
cars are cool, and I
right.
could support that, but
And I think that Lego making this partnership is definitely very interesting, but it's doesn't seem like outside the realm of like, something to not expect, right? Like they have speed champions, they do various size models of like all the cars in both like icons and Technic. So it only seems natural that they would do this. Um the one downside is like, and I'm not the target audience. I'm not a car person.
yeah,
I
same.
don't care about F1, like, but I found out a lot of my friends who love Lego love F1 and now are talking about F1 more and more because Lego has been introduced, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yep.
they have their own F1 cars. Do they have the corresponding driver like Lewis Hamilton? No. But they have what they could have as a minifig to represent Lewis Hamilton or any other driver. That's the only driver I know. But that being said, it's just like one of those things where it's like it's become popular because you're getting people who have an interest in one and maybe have dabbled in the other and vice versa are now able to dabble in both. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and they are pushing out individuals specifically like who are either Lego support, like like influencers, or they have land going out to these events to push this, but also
Yep.
because those individuals do love F1, I'm assuming in some capacity, so they're the
Yep.
natural course, to be able to push that message out. but at the same time, it's like it feels kind of forced to me because it's like I'm not your target audience. I want to stop seeing the ads for this, and I can't stop seeing the ads for these because you keep making the content about these
Yeah.
things. And I don't want to say I'm not interested in what you do. That's not true. I understand that this is the push because this is the season for that. But I would be also in that same position if a new Lord of the Rings set came out, or if a new wave for a major IP came out. You know what I mean? That's all I could think about, and I would consume that content. So it's one of those things where you just got to pick your battles. Unfortunately, I think
Yeah.
it's a little overdone, but at the same time, because I'm not the target audience, I don't have a, no pun intended, a foot in the race, on the
Yeah.
situation. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like being like, oh, I'm so hyped for this. I'm not. I really am not. So I don't need to concern myself with it as much. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because again, I'm not F1. I'm not into F1, let alone cars. So
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
pop culture vehicles. That's about it.
Yeah. And that's a great perspective. And I think you pretty much nailed it there. There's some creators out there that I love their content, and then the
Yep.
F1 stuff happens. It's like, oh, again.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
just get to all. Girl Bricks a lot is a great example.
Yep.
I think she's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and I love so much of what she does,
Mhm.
and good for her for doing all this F1 stuff. She's into it. She enjoys it. The quality of what she does is great. So I'll give her credit for all of that. I don't want to see it, and
Yeah.
there's no way to just not see that
Yeah.
because I
And
still want to see
that's
everything else.
unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Gene Version is another good example,
Yep.
right? Because
Yep.
they love, F1, and they've been in Vegas and stuff. So I love to see the Vegas side. I love Vegas. It's one of my favorite cities. I
Yep.
just wouldn't go for the racing. I would go for the food, for a little bit of the other things that you can do and stuff, but not necessarily the racing aspect, if anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for them for doing what they do and enjoying all of it.
I think that opens a lot of doors, and that's awesome. I think that's an opportunity, you know what I mean, for them, and I hope that they are getting comped in some kind of way to be able to do something like that. Like I think that's like a huge question mark with like land, especially as they're not getting, necessary compensation and things like that. So I'm hoping that that was part of the comp to be able to go to those events and things like that, because even if I was an F1 fan, that's not a cheap trip, if anything, to be able to go to those places, and do those things, even if it was
Yeah.
to make content, for your sponsor and things like that, So it all takes effort, it all takes time, it takes energy, and money
Yeah.
above all else, So
Yeah. Yeah. It's all business.
right, right.
Yeah. Well, there are far worse businesses to be in. So
Yeah, right. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And the land thing has been so funny these days. I feel like the hate gets dialed up just a little bit, like every day, and so much of it's
I get
unfair.
it. I get why people think that, but at the same time, like it's because they're seeing them already in that position. They
Mhm.
didn't see them before they got into that position, the work and effort, A lot of people
Yep.
think that like you have big numbers, therefore by default, you're just handed things, and that's not true. You do have to put a little effort. You have to put a lot of work. There's a lot of consistency, right? And I've seen a lot of these creators put in that work. I'm friends with some of these individuals. I applaud what they do. My only quip is, and I get that this is their position and this is what they have to do, is they reveal so much about a lot of this stuff. And
Mhm.
that's the stuff that I want to be kept, out of the loop. Like I want that to be secret because I want to discover that for myself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially when it comes to building a new set. But that's the parameter of how they showcase and sell the product essentially. They have to show you everything, or the majority of the things that you can discover with these things. But I know you talked about this in last week's thing where like, Shy does the opposite. He just gets the box, he shows it, he talks about it, but he relates it to other things. And that's what I love, is when you're able to include a little backstory on maybe where like that set maybe like came from, because no other person in land that I saw talked about how the 3-in-1 Haunted Mansion, the creator set, like was maybe a nice callback to the Monster Fighter set. A lot of people who are just getting into Lego don't even know what Monster Fighters is. But like,
Shame.
yeah, and but the thing is like they think that this haunted mansion is the first haunted mansion, or maybe they've seen the Fairgrounds version because that's the most recent one, right? So there's no real hard correlation to like bring it, but he brought it back into the fold by connecting not just newer audiences but with the older audiences. You know what I mean? Maybe other content or other land members talked about it. I don't know, but that was one of the big points of his video that I appreciated is he related it to the callback to older sets and stuff, and he provided additional context and information. He didn't talk about the set, he talked about where it maybe stemmed from and a little backstory on it, and then he talked about the set, and that's totally fine. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just one of those things where if you're able to go a little off the norm, off the tradition, I think that goes a long way. But a lot of, unfortunately, the people in land, when they make these videos for all these new sets, it's how many minifigs, how many pieces, building techniques, sticker sheets, and then the biggest gray area for them is the price. And that is where that flame that you talked about earlier gets lit a little bit more is, well, you got it for free. I was like, well,
no, they didn't.
But they put some work into this. You know what I mean? They didn't get this because, again, their accounts are big. It's because they put the work in. You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand, right? Like, does it add bias? No, that's a whole different conversation. But them getting it for free should not be something that you should be like so upset about. It's the bias that I can understand. And that's where I would come in and be like, yes, I agree. You did get it for free. So that is going to be a factor because a lot of these individuals who have received these sets, especially the ones that have received a lot of like criticism, like the Death Waffle, have said they would not buy the Death Waffle if they did not receive it for free.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge factor. That's the conversation you should be having. That's the message that you need to be redirecting back up to the Lego group, if anything. But people don't have the other play scale models. People aren't going to pay for the other play scale models. This is the new it thing. It's $1,000. I don't care. You said it was good, even though you got it for free. Now I'm feeling that artificial FOMO we talked about. I have to go get that now. It's the big thing. I need to have it. I need to have it. Which, it's its own thing.
That's tough. Yeah, I mean, the whole you got it for free thing. So if you work at a grocery store and at the end of the week they give you free groceries instead of a paycheck, well, those aren't free groceries.
No.
You worked all week to get them. It's
right.
To me, it's the same thing. And if anybody's ever edited a video of any real length before, that takes a lot of time. It's not super easy.
No.
Like, even if you're good at it, it still takes time. Your time has value.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people, a lot of creators, especially those in land, have made posts about how this may look easy that I did this 8 to 10 minute video, but this took me the whole day to get through. I had to change the camera angles. I had to make changes to the sound, the editing. I had to, re-upload because, YouTube crashed or whatever, what have you. Or maybe the audio was off, so I had to regurgitate this part because it didn't sound right. You know what I mean? There's so many factors that go into it. Do I feel like they deserve compensation? I think that's a whole nother conversation, right? Like, I don't know about that. Like, that's different because then you have to designate them as an employee. They're no longer a brand ambassador. They're an employee. That's a totally different distinction. Receiving a product to review versus like actually getting paid, that's a whole different, arena, right? Like, and then the bias question gets bigger at that point because now they're an employee, right? Like they have to uphold even more policy at that point, so there's that as well. But yeah, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into these things. And that's the thing too that I tend to bring up in a lot of my lives is, and it's a little controversial, but like, I think a lot of people think that because they see the success of others, not only can they do it, which they absolutely can, but they need to see the exact same results immediately. There needs to be some form of instant gratification that comes with it. Like, if they're not seeing the same results, they're wondering, why is it successful for you? Like, why is it working for you, but it's not working for me? Well, they've been doing this for years. You just got started. It doesn't happen overnight. This takes a lot of time. You gotta keep posting. You gotta keep making the content. It's not just one of those things where you make a video and boom, it just blows up and Lego now is sending you sets. No. There's a process. It takes time. It's not overnight. So
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything else you do in life, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know why, just because it's Lego, suddenly it's different, or because it's social media, suddenly it's different.
Because like a lot of these people have other hobbies. They like other things. And those other hobbies, those other companies have brand ambassadors. But I cannot imagine them getting heckled as much as probably Lego. Like, I still follow a little bit of the Magic side of things. And the people who are designated Magic ambassadors through Wizards of the Coast, I know it's a little bit off topic, but like, it's one of those things. They just get nothing but like love, for the most part. Like, oh, this is new product. This is awesome. I can't wait to meet you because you're going to an event and things like that. Like maybe I'm not in the lives for that, or I'm not in the subreddits for that as much. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, Magic has had its issues, like a lot of things have, but that's not on the ambassador. That's on the company. That always gets circulated onto the company. So a lot of people, I think, are seeing the individuals who represent the company as LAN and not the actual people who represent Lego. And so they're just finding that as a shortcut to be like, well, I can't talk to Lego about this. I can talk to you. What are you going to do about it? But when I first heard about LAN like 3 or 4 years ago, almost every single individual who got into LAN or who I was discovering was part of LAN, one of their first pinned videos was always I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful to every individual who made this possible, so that because there's like a figurehead template essentially of like, I represent you, you are my community, whatever you have to say I will pass along to Lego, and that way we can work on these things. I need your feedback. And it feels like 3 years later that's not said as often. And I don't feel like the feedback is going as much, but that's also because we're not seeing the results. But I have had conversations with some of these individuals, and they have constantly brought it up. And there has been videos as a result to explain why things are going the way that they are and stuff. And I was like, well, that sucks, because now I've been complaining for nothing, essentially, because no changes are going to be made. But then I have to remember, I'm not a set designer. I'm not part of the Lego group. I'm just a fan who's spending money to buy this stuff to enjoy. You're not asking for my advice on how to perfect your product. I'm not LAN. You know what I mean? Like, I can't influence that decision. Like, Lego has to change. They have to make that change.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to do that for them. And there's a lot of people who talk about boycott and stuff too, which it's its own thing.
I don't know. Yeah, boycotts are a whole other rabbit hole. But we do in essence vote with our wallets, right?
Yeah.
And then ridiculous things like 1-star ratings on Shop at Home, and that was kind of review spamming,
right. Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of people right now too who are like, the minute they find out about something about that individual, everybody just like crowdsources everybody to go to that person's like either company to tell them like, this is what's wrong, and it's just constant to the point where they have to turn it off. Like, they're not gonna. I know a lot of people said that they were gonna go and like, okay, so if the turbo tank gets enough 1-star ratings, they're gonna redo it, they're gonna reissue it, they're gonna make it better. No,
never,
absolutely not. They have made hundreds of thousands of copies of this. It's too far gone, and people are buying it. They don't care. So what was the point of complaining if you're just going to go buy it anyways? You know what I mean? That's another thing too. Like a little bit of accountability on like holding up to your convictions and things like that.
Well, yes, exactly. Because the way that set doesn't get made again is for it to just sit on shelves and get clearanced out everywhere. And then maybe in, I don't know, 3, 5, 10, whatever amount of time later, maybe they make some improvements.
Yeah. A reissue.
They're not going to bring down the price, but
no. What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I, 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 s- I think there are some business tactics being utilized where they're only putting like a handful of copies on shelves to make it seem like it's quote unquote selling when in fact it's not. But like, I can totally see in probably like 3 to 6 months, like all the retailers putting it for 30% off, and then that's not enough, because it still has like $120 price, then it's got to go down to like 80, and then that might now be a consideration. But the problem is I think that they're less inclined because it has Star Wars attached to it, and it's very rare that Star Wars gets that deep like clearance cut unless a manager says to like clearance it out because they have too much stock. You're gonna get it with other IPs for their external medias, like looking at like Marvel related like sets, like the MCU and stuff. Like almost every single Marvel set outside of maybe the Fantastic Four one that's come out has been on deep clearance, since it's like released like 2 to 3 months after the fact, right? And like you could find a lot of that stuff for months, if not years, after its retirement, right? But like it's very rare that Star Wars Lego gets really, really deep cut, like clearance. Like I think the only set that I've seen, or two sets that I've seen, are the Moff Gideon Battle on Mandalore, that little play set, like with the two
Yeah.
cards that goes for like $35 down to like $15-$20, and then the Captain Rex like micro fighter. But everything else outside of a major Black Friday sale has not been on like deep clearance for the most part. It's a bread and butter type of thing, right? Because that is like the most popular IP. So
That Rex situation was crazy. When it
yeah,
was whatever it was, $6.50, $7, something like that.
yeah. At one point I probably had like 12 to 15.
Yeah.
I just bought them all, and then I would just sell the Rex minifigs, and then I would keep the parts. That's what I would do. Sell the minifigs, keep the parts, essentially. Grab them all.
Yeah. The price of that minifig is crazy.
Yeah, because it's like less than $10 now. It's insane.
Yep.
Because if it was still exclusive, like if they had just not done ARM and like lake printing, made it a little different, the UCS version would still be probably a $50 to $100 minifig, right? Instead, now is that $10 also, or is that still got that UCS premium attached to it?
What's the difference between the two?
Nothing.
I don't think there is, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't remember if there was a cape or something, or pauldron, whatever.
There's a
separating
pauldron
the
in
two,
both.
but
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
They're both
then
fabric.
what a
Nothing.
catastrophe.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, they'll never put the word exclusive ever again in any of their instructions because of
Yeah.
just the reaction it got, right? Like insane.
That was stupid. I don't know why they did that.
They've never done it before either. Like it's super weird. Like I think it was just to drive up the fact that you were buying a $650 massive ship, with only two minifigs. Like that's my biggest gripe with UCS sets. I know you're not buying it for the minifigs, but that is a factor because it's a big hulking set. Like it's a big display piece. The Venator's cool. It's probably my favorite Clone Wars era ship, if anything. But I gravitate more to the Razor Crest because one, that's more minifig scale, and the minifig suite that you get with it fit within the ship, and they gave you a decent spread, you know what I mean? But like the Venator, you got Rex, and then was it Yularen, right? Young Yularen, I believe, like Commander Yularen, like his
Yes.
I think it's like his commander.
That was one of the ones where I looked and said, you know what, there is no place in my house that'll ever fit, and then I just kind of dialed out of it.
I'll eventually get the Razor Crest. That's the only UCS set that I really want because it's the cleanest looking, but I have nowhere to put that. So it's a box that's going to stay in my closet, unfortunately, which is the biggest travesty.
Do you?
Lauren, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, okay, great. For some, that box is also large. So if you're not taking up space in one place with it, you're taking up space somewhere else, right?
UCS boxes are outrageous, especially the large ones. Like their footprint is the equivalent of like 2 Rivendels, or like it's insane the amount of effort that they put into the packaging for something like that. It's almost outrageous because it's just so excessive. I get it, like this is your principal product, like this is the big thing for Star Wars, but at the same time it's so excessive because that's a factor in the pricing right there. Packaging materials, like you are putting so much time and effort into this. That is a cost right there that you are paying for that premium. Essentially, it doesn't matter if it's like graphics that are repurposed. They have to pay for that, that ability to do that, so
Yeah,
it's
it,
insane.
it's the Apple treatment, though, right? It's
Right.
the ultimate collector series.
Right,
Everything about
right.
it has to be ultimate,
Absolutely.
including size, unfortunately.
Right.
And then you look at the Death Star, was it 81 bags or something
Yeah.
insane? And my God, that box you could hide small children in.
Yeah. I mean, most of the UCS sets, to be fair, you could.
Yeah.
Wish the UCS sets could have the box art instead of the black background. Yeah,
Yes, for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
The black backdrop of icons is absolutely garbage, and I wish they would go back to the creator expert art style, where they actually put like a really cool, like, backdrop and things like that. Like, I don't think there was ever like a reason for that, because like I think black ink costs more than a graphic, like if anything, because you just have to put a huge spread of it, right? Like, and then plant your set on top of it. Like, it's just so bad and generic. And like you also remove the awesome graphics for your instruction manuals too. It's now just got that black background, or sorry, the white background, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of the instructions used to have a graphic in correspondence with the set. Like Lego Ideas still maintains that, but it's very rare that you get a Lego set without it just being a white, instruction manual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, Mayo, this is being broadcast in whatever, horizontal and vertical. So we're in the shorts feed and in the regular feed. And YouTube and StreamYard are still doing weird things with how they handle the comments there. So it gets a little odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is second. I think this is our second stream in both feeds.
Oh, okay.
It's a little,
Cool.
yeah,
Nice.
it's a little weird. Try to meet some new people.
Yeah.
Get out there a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, like when you reached out, I was like, sweet, I'm down. I don't know you, but I'll watch one of your next lives. I'll get an idea of like what it's like and stuff.
Yeah. So for you, when you stream, is that spur of the moment? Do you reach out to people ahead of time and say, "Hey, what's going on tonight?"
Yeah. So I used to schedule. I'd say about like 2 years ago, I did this crazy thing where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go live every day. I don't care. I'll go
That's a lot
like
of work.
yeah. I thought I was up for it. I really did. I think I went like 120 days before I stopped.
Wow.
Yeah. It took a toll. And it was either I go live by myself or I go live with people. I do have a few like group chats where like there's a lot of people who like talk about the prospect of like going live and things like that. But because of that, I stopped hosting or being the person, who went live all the time essentially. I would pick and choose because like I work in a warehouse. I move boxes and things like that. So if I'm exhausted, I just choose not to go live at that point. If you ever see me in a live and my camera is off, it's because I don't want to sit here and then like have this in the background and me just chatting. It's easier just to have my camera off essentially, and I could just be chilling in bed or whatever, doing my thing, drinking some water or whatever. But like it's spontaneous for the most part.
There you go. All right.
But yeah,
So, what would you say your frequency is lately?
maybe like once or twice a week essentially, like that I host. Like I try to do it on Fridays. I always end up with like a group of individuals. But I'll tend to gravitate towards group builds. So we all work on the same set. And like right now,
Cool.
You have a lot of people who are doing like Home Alone. There's a bunch of us who are gonna want to do the gingerbread AT-AT. There's a bunch of us who want to do the gingerbread house that just came out. Um, the next like month is actually gonna be really busy because I plan on building quite a few holiday related sets. Like I've got the Christmas tree, I've got a couple ornaments and things like that. So I'll be a little bit more lively, no pun intended. But like, it's never really scheduled. I just spontaneously start a live essentially and just go from there. Like I don't really like scheduling it out because then I have to uphold my own personal commitment to it. And like
Yep.
again, if I have a day that's just really long and then I just end up not going live, then I have people who like go like, "Hey man, I was waiting for you. Where were you?" And then I hop on another person's live, and hang out with them instead. It's just easier that way. There's a lot of people who are able to do it, and they're very consistent and things like that. But like I'm not doing this I am consistent with my content, but I think a live atmosphere is its own arena.
Yeah.
It's got kind of and I hate to use this as an analogy, but it's kind of got like that game show apparatus attached to it where you're the host, right? Like you're the primary person. Even if you don't have anybody joining you, you have to constantly be talking, and whatnot. And that's not a concern. But when you do include individuals and stuff, and then the conversations, go on their tangents and things like that, and then you forget what was discussed, or you have people on different, time zones, or the internet's just going to be a little off, and then you just have people talking over people and stuff. It's hard to find a balance, really. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who would prefer to just be solo, and that's totally okay. There's a people who prefer to have full groups of individuals, joining them. But you're always going to, unfortunately, unintentionally alienate somebody, right, in the process. So I look at it that because I've seen all those factors unfold those ways because I've done this for so long. So yeah.
Yeah, being live is tricky. So
Yep.
in a show like this, which is loose interview conversation kind of
Mhm.
thing, it's the focus is the guest.
Right. Right.
So there isn't a lot of interaction with chat.
Right.
But you also don't want to entirely neglect chat.
Right.
Sorry,
100%.
guys. We
A
love
balance.
everybody that
A
comes and
balance for
joins
sure.
us,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's especially if you're deep into the conversation and you're really going back and forth, and then I'm 100% sure that there's things that get missed because
Right.
your focus is
Right.
not there.
If I'm
When
ever the host in my lives, my primary focus isn't the Lego set that I'm building. It's actually chat. I focus on chat. And if somebody's asking one of my guests, a question, I redirect them so that way they know, or if somebody has a question for everybody in the boxes, I get them, included and stuff. Like, but if I'm not the host, I don't pay attention as much because
yeah,
I don't find it my responsibility because I'm not running this thing and I don't want to step on toes, right? Like, and I think that's the same kind of balance as this in a way, right? Because like again, you're asking me questions and things like that, and I'm just like reciprocating, you know.
yeah, Mayo saying he prefers not to be solo on streams. I don't think I can. It's. I'm sure I'm capable because I
Yeah,
like to think that I'm capable of nearly anything. Yeah, quality is a whole different issue, but I'm at least capable of being solo. But it's hard. I don't have a lot of interest in it.
a
Like,
lot of people don't know if they're just talking to nobody. That's the common thing I hear from a lot of people is if you don't have anybody in your chat, you know, you're just talking to a wall, and that is a huge detriment to a lot of people, and that's why they allow people to join as guests, so that way there is somebody that they are talking to,
yep,
Um, but again, I think that's just a balancing effect, right? Like where your comfort lies, as a host or as a guest, and going going to that establishing those boundaries as well, right? Because I think there are a lot of individuals who are joining as guests who think that because they have a good relationship with the host, they could just take over and things like that. In which case, I think that's kind of wrong. I think that's up to the host, to kind of dictate things. But if there's no boundaries established, things fall to the wayside. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
those are the types of lives where I don't engage with as much because it just becomes like the wild, wild west, essentially. You just don't know what's going to happen because nobody's in
Yeah.
control of the situation. And I don't think there needs to be control. I think there needs to be a balance, an
Yeah.
understanding, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's somebody needs to take point,
Hmm.
and then everything can be fairly loose under that.
Right, right,
But
right.
yeah. Okay. So do you, since you've done it a lot, are are you actively looking for new people? Like, oh, I saw them. It would be cool. I'm going to reach out to them and see if,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think the funnest thing is when I find out they're local because you just never know, right? Like, because
Yeah.
I know people who are in, Europe, UK, Australia, Canada, here in the States, but I think it's funnest when I hear it's somebody who is like in my state or maybe maybe the state down essentially, because there's an opportunity there also to meet up in person, and like it expands that opportunity, right? Like, uh, if they have a common interest with themes, like if you like Lord of the Rings, I'm probably going to gravitate towards your content a little bit more, especially. There's a little bit of bias there, but at the same time, I know that you'll appreciate the theme as much as I do. So
Mhm.
like there's certain individuals out in Germany, especially. I don't know if you know Lord of the Bricks, but he has a giant Minas Tirith build in his attic essentially, and he has a giant army in front of it, and he's recreated the Battle of Pelennor Fields. It's incredible. And if he did not show up on my FYP with that as the backdrop, I would have never known who he was. Like, I'm sure people would have shared his profile, but I saw that and I was like, I like your content. I'm following instantaneously. You know what I mean? And I got the follow back too, which was really cool. That was really gratifying right there, right? Like, that's another thing. Um, but I think it's also how you are as a person, right? Like, and this goes back to that game show apparatus vibe, right? Like, where there's a lot of people who have like a face, like they put on a mask of who they are as a host and things like that. And so if it's something that I've like seen before with other individuals that I never really gelled with, I'll like stay away, unfortunately. It
Mhm.
doesn't gel with me, so it's not gonna work. But yeah, it's if I find out you're local, I know you talked about this last week, but like lots of conversation about Chicago Brick World happening, like because of like
Yep.
the tickets and things like that. So it's really fun to see that reaction from a lot of people who didn't know about it last year or this year for that matter, are discovering it for the first time. So that's led to a bunch of external group chats and things like that, and conversations and whatnot. But I think because also a lot of people do the same thing, it kind of blends, right? Like, so I also have to look for something that sets you apart. I'm not saying that I set a bar or a precedence of what to expect, but I've seen what a lot of people have done on lives, especially, and same with content. So
Yep.
I need to see something that you're doing that's like kind of setting you apart. You know what I mean? Like as a way of being like, yeah, I can get behind this. I like this content. I'll follow or I'll jump into your live and hang out and chat with you. Um, I'm gonna try to choose my words carefully on this, but like I've helped people on their first lives because they've never done
Mhm.
lives before. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, so when they have the opportunity to have a guest, I immediately request and like show them the ropes a little bit to kind of give them an idea. Like, because that's the thing that TikTok doesn't do a really good job of. Unless you explore all the buttons, you don't know what you're really doing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like not having moderators, not being able to like designate what you're doing in your live because you can like set up in the bottom corner essentially what you're working on, or there's the gifts and things like that, or like the engagement and whatnot, right? Like all of these little like tools. But one of the things that I find coolest about that app is my eyesight is terrible. I have to get closer to look at stuff, right? And there is a tool that allows you to slide your screen from left to right, and it shows you the chat in large. And
Oh, that's cool.
everybody, if you watch a live, oh, I'm sorry I missed that comment. It's essentially what you talked about. Something's gonna get lost in chat. If you just
Yeah.
enlarge your chat, you can read the entire chat. You don't get to see the requests, and stuff, but that's okay. It takes over your entire window. That's okay. It's whatever. They don't see it. That's fine. But I now get to read everything and I can see everything and I can like, reiterate, I can answer questions and things like that. And I could scroll all the way up. Because like that's just one of the things I love. Like,
Now, do you do phone and desktop, laptop, whatever, have two devices running? Does that make it any easier?
I just use my iPad. I don't actually use anything else. I do have the app on my phone and stuff, but I don't have a second account. That's
Okay.
like like operational, if you will. I don't need to so I do. That's another thing too that I try to share with people who are getting into lives is making sure you have moderators, because you don't know who's gonna walk in, and do something stupid. We already encountered that a little bit earlier, but uh,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like uh, every time there's a first time for somebody gets into the chat and starts doing something, right? So, but TikTok doesn't tell you to set up mods. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're not on here, you're not on any other platform, you don't know what a moderator is, then you have to go through that process, and you have to trust people who either you follow their content or like your mutuals and things like that. But the people you want as moderators are the people who are going to consistently come into your chat and watch your lives, right? And that's not necessarily a mutual or somebody who you see content. It's somebody who's just there to support, So whenever I go live, the people who are like my ride or dies, if you will, like I'll have like 6 to 7, maybe 10 people who are just constantly in my lives, hanging out. The majority of them are moderators for me as well, so that kind of helps.
That's cool. So we had a question a little bit ago that I thought was interesting and a fitting one for you since you're always wearing band T-shirts, as far as I see. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you think Lego should make some more music-related sets?
No, no.
No.
Um, I honestly think their music related sets are like some of the weakest sets. I think they're cool, but they never do well. Just from like a marketing perspective, because I don't think that they are. Uh, Music is important. It's a big deal, but it feels super niche. It feels super niche. If there was a Lego related music set, album covers maybe, like an art piece,
Yeah.
there's some beautiful mocks. I think it's Nick's Bricks or something. They did like a Muse cover art, like for like that was like 3D.
Yeah.
If Lego went into art and explored album covers instead of designating it a music sub theme, but just like an art sub theme, of like album covers, I think that'd be really cool. I think that would be fantastic. But a lot of the music that I listen to is not kid friendly. It's not
Yeah.
family forward.
Same.
Right.
Same.
So the sets that they've made based off of music is so generic. Like I get it. A Fender Stratocaster is a big deal. A lot of people wanted that growing up. They wanted that guitar. But it's so weirdly scaled. You know what I mean? Like you can put it with your brick built characters, I guess, but I look like a joke holding it, right? Because it's like a ukulele essentially,
Yeah.
right? Like it's so off, right? Like um
They
and
did
then
a better job with the ukulele for scale.
right, exactly, 100%. And like that fits with like Stitch and stuff. That's a cute
Yep.
pairing. I know people have put the Stratocaster with Bowser, which is fine, but it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
feel like, scale is going to be ever a thing that they can like, truly encapsulate, right? Like they've done the Jazz Quartet, which is a cute little set, but I don't like jazz. That's not my area of music that I like. So I'm not gonna get a jazz quartet Lego set. Um, they did not Queens of the Stone Age. What's the big tongue? The big red tongue that was
Rolling Stones.
Rolling
Yep.
Stones. I don't like Rolling Stones. Why am I gonna get a giant red tongue? You know what I mean? Like that feels a little bit repetitive. You know what I mean? Like I would get a Linkin Park related thing. I would get a System of a Down related thing, but they can't do that stuff, unfortunately, because of just like the message and things like that. You know what I mean? So, um, I think if there was a Lego set that they could do, and they dabbled a little bit with it, is the Jazz Club, the modular.
Yep.
And incorporate like a underground setting, like a
CBGBs from back in the
right,
day.
yeah. So if they wanted to build a stage, and like put it like on a modular setting, I think that'd be really cool for a city environment. But am I going to go and get it? Probably not. It's not. It's not something that I think of, when I want Lego and stuff. I love music. I love the music that I love, but I can't see Lego making that stuff because it's not family friendly. But it's also, I think, a little too niche, if I'm going to be
Yep.
honest.
Yeah. I mean, look what happened with BTS. It blew up because
Perfect
they wanted it
example.
too, and it was clearance right afterwards.
I had so many people tell me that this is going to be the most popular Lego idea set of all time. And like the BTS fan base is so big, and they are fantastic. The set sold out for a couple days on my Lego store, and then it reappeared. And then, like you said, it clearanced out. The set is just so generic. Like I get that you're highlighting one of their more popular like music videos, but like there's nothing about it that like screams like playability, displayability, because you have to put it on a couple additional base plates. The minifigs are fine, um, but you didn't have BTS come in to help advertise. You didn't incorporate K-pop in any capacity. You just said that this was announced. We're gonna do it. Have at it. Like it. That's the thing is like Lego ideas is such a hit or miss, right? Like you have so many amazing sets become, or amazing ideas become Lego sets, but because they are such niche concepts, only a small percentage of individuals are going to go out of their way to get those sets. Like, right? Like I like music, but I don't like BTS. Why am I going to go get this? Like I'm not into K-pop. I'm sorry. So why do you think I'm going to go after this? I bought it on clearance. I 100% bought it on clearance because $100 was erroneous for that set, like 700 pieces, and like there was just so many disparities, right? Like so, I got mine for like $25-$30, and I was like, all right, cool, I've got it because I do collect Lego ideas, so I have to add it.
See you, Mail. Yeah,
Bye.
it was great. It's daytime for him, which is weird. Or I guess,
Oh,
yeah, it's more or less morning for him.
right, right.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
no,
Time changes.
no music related stuff. I'm like, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I did kind of want to see the Taylor Swift set come out just to see what would happen.
I I think that could have potentially been a little different, but just based off of the BTS reception and how everybody and their mother told me, because BTS is more worldwide. Like I don't think Taylor Swift has the worldwide, you know, appreciation, right? Like also I don't listen to Taylor Swift, so it's not my
Yeah,
area.
Stan.
But it's like that's great. Taylor Swift is super popular, but like everybody who told me a lot of these okay, and I don't mean to focus, but a lot of the demographic is for women, right? BTS. I'm going to
Yeah,
also throw in Twilight. Twilight is driven towards women.
yeah,
I feel like the sets that were meant for women and everybody and their mother telling me that these are going to be fantastic, they're going to be popular, they're going to sell out, they're going to be the best things ever. Those individuals who loved BTS, that loved Twilight, they got it, but it's not sold out. It never sold out, right? Like it was gone for maybe a couple days, but it was available back on the shelves because nobody is buying multiple copies of these sets, right? And so Taylor Swift, if the house was proved and everything, it would sell out probably in a day or two, but it would be back on shelves, and those same people aren't going to need to buy a second copy. It's just going to sit there,
yeah,
like it doesn't have I think that appeal that like a lot of other sets do where you can combine a couple copies, or I want the set because it gives me a nice abundance of different kinds of minifigs. Like BTS, you have the entire crew. You don't need a second copy of the crew, the band. Twilight, you don't need a second iteration of any of the characters because you're gonna maybe make your own custom minifigs, but you could just go get other minifigs, right? And Taylor Swift is what gonna just come with Taylor Swift. Like So you're buying
Yeah.
the set for the house and one minifig, like, and it's going to be
Yeah. They
priced.
make 6 different versions of her or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there's different torsos to highlight the different albums and things like that. Um, I just think that like I think that there are outliers, and I'm not going to go into detail about them, but of like the current political climate and things like that, where I think Lego does a really good job on research, you know, and they probably had like models to project things and stuff. But I have to imagine the reception for like BTS, Twilight, I'm sorry, yeah, have to come in. You know what I mean? Like, because I think that there's tons of amazing sets that are aimed for all demographics, but because of how niche they are, only a small percentage of that demographic is actually going to go out of its way to go pick up the set. Because another thing too, Lego displays really well, but if I was a fan of K-pop and I had album covers on my bookshelves and like their entire vinyl selection and maybe I had CDs, the BTS set doesn't display well like next to that. You know what I mean? Like in a decorative stance, right? Like the Twilight house. Cool, you're putting that next to the books, but it's a house. It's like just this house right next to books. You know what I mean? Like it's a little awkward. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things where it's like, will it do good? Probably, but will it be the best Lego idea set ever? Let's look at Twilight and BTS, and tell me your thoughts on that because I don't think so.
So, one thing I've started to consider on the investing side of things is looking at Instagram and looking at lives and like the shelves behind you.
Mm-hmm.
If in a situation like this, if I'm looking on your shelves and I can identify a set, it has such a higher chance of being a win in the aftermarket
Mm-hmm.
because that's why a lot of people buy these things is
Yep.
to not just look at them themselves, but have other people look at them.
Right. Right.
You know,
Social
if you're
media.
on Instagram and you have all these like the Star Wars dioramas,
Right.
if you have a bunch of those right in front on your
Mm-hmm.
shelves in the background, unless you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, your average person can't figure out what the hell they're even looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not identifiable that easy. It's
It goes into that
not good.
influence arena, right? Kind of. It's like, okay, well, you have it, so I think I'll like it because it looks really good on like your shelf right there, right? Like I, this was no accident to put like my Disney castles here because I know there's a lot of Disney fans out there and they probably have never seen these. They've seen the big $400 Disney castle, but they didn't know that there's like a $40 option or
Mm-hmm.
other princesses, right? Like I can't justify the $400 option. I can justify the $40 option. I like these. They display better, you know what I mean? And I have the full set, you know? So I think there is a bit of an influence to like what's behind you and stuff that kind of dictates things because I do see a lot of people who get into Lego who are still trying to establish what their backdrop should be like is going, ooh, that's really cool. I didn't know that existed. How did you like that? You know, and it creates that conversation.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. That's tough too, because not only do you have to consider what sets you're going to put behind you,
Mm-hmm.
you also need to consider like what audience you want versus
Right.
what audience you might end up getting,
Right.
right?
I get so many
Yeah.
questions about the buildable characters behind me. So many questions all the time. Like they're like, "Oh, that's really cool. What do you got back there?" Because it's stacked really far back. It's not just Star Wars. There's Disney. There's Monkey Kid. Optimus Prime is back there. You know what I mean? So I it just goes right. Like, but the issue with my shelves, like besides them not really being like discernible, is my idea for this was to put a lot of my sealed stuff in the like the back half and put
Mhm.
build sets in front of it. So it was either going to be sealed collection or potential backlog sets that I can like build and stuff over time and then replace with another set in that box size essentially. So a lot of the stuff that you see at the very front behind it are more sets essentially. Like I have like 7 or 8 architecture sets behind all of these buildable characters right here.
Oh my
But you
word.
can't see because they're black. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it just goes really far back because the shelves are I think like 12, 14 inches deep. Like these are big wire rack, like, storage shelves. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love Bowser just up there lurking.
Oh yeah. My favorite buildable character, hands down. I know I say this quite a bit where I don't think Lego can do better, but they tend to do better, right? Like that new Iron Man that we're getting looks incredible. Like I think that if there's going to be a template for Pokemon, that Bowser is going to be the big indicator on how we get a Squirtle or a Blastoise, essentially, because they 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 just need to swap the color, remove the spikes from the shell, and remake his face, and you've got either a Squirtle or a Blastoise. Easy, no issue there. So yeah,
Yeah, he really is so good.
yeah, this is my top
I'm
five.
really, really disappointed we never got a good discount on that.
Yeah, that I think it's because so that's the thing too, right? Is like I don't think that they put discounts on everything. They put only discounts on the stuff that isn't selling well, right? Like or the stuff that like they know that they can like push because they just need to add that 20, 30% discount. Bowser, I think in the entire run of it being on like on the shelf or on lego.com has always been popular. Like
Yep.
I think I don't care about majority of the gaming stuff that they come out with, but when it comes to that I would consider that like UCS scale, right? That's like the big
Yeah.
icons, stuff. The big like $150 plus like or $200 plus video game based sets that they do are some of the best. I think that they are stylized perfectly. Like I think the Atari was a little maybe too out there, and that did not get the love it deserved. But like even the Pac-Man is really well liked despite all the technique. But like if you want a figurehead, a poster child, it's Bowser for sure, 100%. Like that in the NES. Like the NES was fantastic.
Oh, it's Mario Kart, really good.
I haven't built Mario Kart yet, so I don't have an opinion. It's in my backlog.
Yeah, that one looks great. And even the Piranha Plant, I mean,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
a cheaper set,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Phenomenal job with that. At that price point, I think it's great,
Agreed.
especially now
Agreed.
on sale all the time.
Yeah. If you get it for $48, go get it. Like even at $60, yeah, like you said, it's priced really well. It's got really good building techniques, and I love that little trick at the bottom to kind of be a throwback to the game itself and stuff. Yeah.
And
That was a fun set.
instantly recognizable. I mean,
Yes. Don't drop
that-
it though. Don't drop it because rebuilding the head is kind of a pain.
I built the orchid set for my mother a few years ago.
Oh yeah. I heard that's a bit.
Oh man! So I think I made a mistake somewhere along the lines. I'm not 100% sure, but I put it in a box and I packed it halfway decent. And I had to go like a mile down the street to see her for Mother's Day. Right? And it fell over in the box. Everything kind of shifted. That thing was so brittle. It just like disintegrated. And
yeah, I think the botanicals are good. I think that they're interesting. I know that they keep churning out more and more, but I'm waiting for them to just regurgitate, which they're kind of doing right now because we have pink roses now after getting red roses. So I think color swaps are on the horizon now at this point. But like, they're cute for what they are. They display really well, but just don't touch them because if you do, they just fall apart. Unfortunately, like I think the part usage is my favorite part, especially if you get them on sale and stuff. Like because there's so many opportunities with some of those pieces because they're not putting them in other Lego sets in such high quantities. So to be able to get that, that type, like a lot of I know the botanicals are, brick built flowers, but they literally use also additional flower pieces that aren't common in abundance. Like there's the new, I don't remember what it is. It's like a little bouquet that's coming out for spring for $15, and it comes with like a bunch of sunflower pieces. And everybody wants sunflowers for like their farms and like their little garden sets, and whatnot. Like, and to get so many of them, and for $15, you don't have to wait for PAB or anything like that. It's easy. It's perfect.
Yeah, and they do some really creative things. It's recoloring bananas. You get the Demogorgon heads.
Yes. And like somebody literally turned the orchid into a Demogorgon, like which was crazy as a rebrickable. Like so incredible of an avenue to kind of go down, because it's like a meta reference unto itself because of that headpiece. Like, it was so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really impressive. But like you said, the recolors are gonna beat that up a little bit.
Yeah.
But those sets they're not for us. Like
No.
that doesn't mean we can't appreciate them, like
No.
them, whatever,
Yeah,
but they're not for us,
they're gifts. I see them as gifts for people. Like, if somebody wants an entry level set, you know, that makes really good decor, maybe like a housewarming gift, or maybe like a holiday season type thing, or like a white elephant, I immediately think of botanicals. I think botanicals are great because even if they have it already, they just add it to their existing pile of that set, right? Like, it doesn't matter because they're going to be willing to build it, right? Like, it is aimed towards, very specific demographics, but I like them. I find them as a nice change of pace from everything else, because again, there's still some unique elements in terms of like not just the pieces but also the techniques used and stuff. I love how they keep building different variations of vases. Like, I think that's just super cool because it makes me think of how we can like downsize it even more to just like if you had a garden or if you had a city and you wanted like plant pots scattered around the city, because a lot of people don't go beyond the norm of like a trash can and like a street light. They don't think about planters as much. They bushes, yes, but planters not so much. You know what I mean? So imagine downsizing like the tiny plant vases, down just a little bit, based off like with like a lunch pail or something like that, or like a mop pail, things like that. But yeah.
Now, when Tyler was on, he brought up that for the botanicals, he pictures like a new young couple or something,
Yeah.
and the girlfriend says, "Oh, wouldn't it be cute if we had a Lego night?" And she buys botanicals for herself and the Speed Champs for him.
Right. Right.
And it's the perfect
Date night.
pairing
It's
for
perfect date night right there. Yep, 100%. 100%.
and that's how you get the normies hooked.
Right. And like, I think my favorite thing to come out of botanicals, honestly, and is why buy flowers for your wedding when you can buy Lego, right? Like, have that as your table, display piece, and then maybe leave a couple sets for people at the table to build as well to add to that floral arrangement, like a brick built like corsage or whatever, like it's crazy how kind of self-sufficient it is, right? To like be repurposed in a way and not have to worry about waste at the same time, like outside of like the cardboard and plastic, which you'll just recycle if anything, right? Like, there's a lot of opportunity with them for sure. I like them. I know a lot of people who don't like them, but I pay attention to them. But I typically wait till they go on clearance to buy a handful just so I can absorb the parts. Because like, I don't know if you remember, but like the Sakura Blossom, little $15 set that had like all of the white petals, pink petals, and stuff, and it had like those went down to like $6 or $7 like on Target. I bought like 4 or 5 of them just to assimilate the parts into my collection, essentially. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the videos from Maticus's wedding?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was adorable. It was really adorable.
Yeah. Yeah. That was cool.
I'm glad that he got that stuff, to help out. Like, I think that was a really cool wedding gift. And I want to see more stuff like that. Like, I know their videos don't get enough. I know we're circling back to land a little bit, but like, I know their videos don't do as well, but when they work on personal projects like that, I want to see more of that. That's a different perspective, Not only are you showcasing the product, but what you can do with the product, right? Like, and that is such a clever way, because I know a lot of content creators who have put up a literal floral wall behind them and just added their botanicals to it. He's not the only one who's done it, and it looks amazing. I think it's a great display piece unto itself, right? Like, it beats the norm of just a shelf and a bunch of Lego on the shelf, right? Like, so very unique, and it was super cute for sure.
What is his name? Any way that I would possibly describe him isn't going to come out great. Blonde, kind of curly haired. He's friends with the guy that's got the long hair. Dom There's
Oh,
Dom
Ethan, the artist.
and
Ethan.
yes, him.
Ethan.
I
Yeah.
he is the one of that group I think that puts out the most you still want to watch it content,
Yeah. Um,
right?
and I think this also goes back too because like for the longest time, people thought Ethan and Dom were part of LAN, and they just got into LAN this year, right?
Yeah,
Like so,
yeah,
but
Brandon.
the content that they made, that's what got them on there. But they also did Lego Masters too, which kind of helped. But like
Yeah,
they built random things from the stuff that they had, right? Like they showcase unique things, right? Like Ethan, his escalation of what to do with certain things is pretty incredible. My personal thing is that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. And the energy kind of takes me out. Like it's a little
it's
too
exhausting.
it's not that it's exhausting, it's a little repetitive.
Yeah,
And that's his thing. That's
yeah,
100% his thing. I'm not faulting it. I think it's incredible that he's been able to manifest what he's done both on here, TikTok, everywhere. Like he is incredibly talented. I am not discounting that at all, but there's there's a thing also with like social media too where and then this goes back to the live conversation too. There's a lot of people who have like ADHD who are on the spectrum and things like that where that's highlighted incredibly, right, with content or even in a live apparatus, right? So for me, like even though I listen to metal music, I'm not like rocking out like and whatnot and like head jerking constant. No, I'm just mellowing out. I'm listening to it because this is my cup of tea, right? But like when there's just a lot of energy, into something, I need there to be a bit of a balance, right? Like, and so it's cool. I try to watch through the very end because I know he does like 3 levels of the same thing, right? By showing different techniques. But when he does those little divots to him getting distracted and things like that, where I'm just kind of like, okay, now you took me out. I'm out of this. You know what I mean? Like that little ADHD moment right there just took me out of your whole video, unfortunately, right? Like I didn't need this like random escapade to the park or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. But
yeah,
that's just my own personal critique. It has no bearing on him and what he does for the record. I know a lot of people really like that, and that's
yeah.
more power to them. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the wild thing because I understand what you're saying, and but I think he's dialed it into the business enough
Yeah, yeah,
to
100%.
to see that just looking at his metrics that things like that are necessary.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
which
Again, I'm not
which is a
discounting.
comment on society as a whole,
Right.
almost. But yeah,
We have a very short attention span. Like social
yeah,
media has kind of helped to fuel that, unfortunately. So the fact that you're able to stay in the loop for that long, because a lot of his videos are a minute plus because he's monetized and
yeah,
things like that. So obviously, naturally, they have to be right. So you want to see that escalation. Like that's the thing about content too is you want to see the end result. You just told me that you have 3 ways to do something. I want to see all 3 ways on how you do that thing, right? And it
yeah,
just gets
yep,
bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm not faulting that. I think it's a fantastic tactic. For me, it's just a little too much energy. I will watch it. I will watch it. There's some really great videos of him showcasing. I think some of my favorite ones actually is, and I never would have thought of this, is how he actually flips a tire, inside out and uses
yep,
that as texture, for a lot of his builds. Like when he built his own Balrog and things like that. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I love that video. That's like one of my favorite videos that he's done. Um, but like videos where like he showcases the size of the Minecraft animals.
hmm
Like I've seen those at all the conventions I've gone to. I didn't
yep,
need to watch a video to see something like that. But then I'm not the target audience because I don't like Minecraft. The Minecraft audience is the target audience. You know what I mean? And he's going to get the views because there's people who like Minecraft, right? So it's a
yep,
pick and choose type of situation for me, right?
yep,
But I 100% agree. I'm not faulting him in any capacity. It's just my
yep,
perspective and
yeah,
what
right on.
keeps me in the loop.
Yeah, yeah. I can't even imagine the amount of work that goes into one of his videos.
Again, it's like a 10-minute video that
Crazy.
took all day, let alone this being 2 to 3 minutes, right? Like it's
Yeah,
8 to 10 hours easily, right? Again, like
yeah,
lighting, positioning, editing, and things like that. 100%. 100%. It takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of time for sure.
yeah, yeah. I do not have his energy.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
I also have two little kids that don't allow me to have that kind of energy for
Fair.
anything Lego related.
I think when you're in a position like he is, where he has I'm not going to say the money that's coming in, because he does get the money, right? Like he gets the metrics. We'll use the metrics, right?
Yeah.
The analogy. The metrics suggest that he's making enough off of it. That's enough of a motivational tool and process to keep pushing, to keep doing it, right? And he's not doing this every single day, right? You do see, where he's taking breaks, where it's like every couple days, because he's doing other things as well, right? He's not doing this and churning it out every single day, because then you're running yourself into the ground. He's pacing himself. He's taking the time, he's honed his craft, and that's what he's doing to churn out the stuff, right? And it works. It 100% works.
Yeah, he's also got the advantage of youth, which I no longer have. I mean, what is he? Late 20s somewhere.
Probably. It is
I'm
astonishing to hear how old some people are. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I have to imagine he's been doing it for 10 years,
Ever.
maybe.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a lot of people too, and it goes back to that what I was talking about earlier about like instant gratification, right? He's been doing it forever. He deserves to reap the rewards of this because he's put in the work, he's put in the time and the effort. So for him to get X amount of views, like the 6-7 figures, worth of views, and the comments, the reshares, like the ad revenue and such, the metrics, it showcases the process, that he deserves to earn what he gets out of this, right? Like and it if it's not broken, why fix it, right? Like what is my criticism or my feedback going to change? No, I'm not going to be like that dude who goes like, I'm breaking the camel's back because I didn't like. No, absolutely not. Like it's working for him. Keep doing it. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
So thinking of working for him, working for you, how much work do you put into your content? Like, do you have a schedule? Is it whenever ambition strikes? Or how do you go about it?
It is so inconsistent, ironically, despite being consistent. Like I doom scroll quite a bit. I have no rhyme or reason to how I do my content, which is not helpful because there's no consistency in terms of like, what people are going to expect. My bread and butter are trendy audios, which I know a lot of people just zip right past, but mine typically are pretty good, if I have the right caption and things like that. But at the end of the day, I get a lot of views, I get a lot of comments, I get a few follows. I'm not making any money off of that. So I don't think that really changed until I entered the Creator Rewards program over on TikTok, especially. So I've been trying to make more conscientious content in terms of like, maybe I need to share a little piece of information with you that maybe you don't know about, or maybe I can like explain something a little further that maybe you heard somebody else say and give you a little bit more context. And sometimes that ramble could be a minute or it could be 3 minutes, it just depends, right? But what I find the most difficult is that, and this is a common occurrence with a lot of people who make any kind of content on TikTok, especially, regardless of them cross-posting to here or IG, is that you could put the most minimal effort into a potentially 7 to 10 second video and it could blow up. It could do really well. It could get 10,000 views, 100,000 views, 1 million views. And that's great. But the minute you put any effort into something where you spend hours editing, dictating the lighting and things like that, and for it to just like flatline at like 300 views, right? Like, and you put like a conscientious effort into it, right? Like, it is so debilitating, right? Like on the headspace, right? Like, and I think a lot of people, like, again, going back to that instant gratification, it's like, well, it's working for you. Why can't it work for me? It's not working for me. I have to share my videos that are really long to get any traction. They do not get pushed onto the FYP, especially like my minute long stuff, unless my hook is relevant to something that you're doing right now. Like, if I highlight sales or clearance, they do relatively well. I don't need to push it out too much. But the minute I ramble about a cool idea with Lego that maybe you didn't think about, or I provide a different perspective that maybe goes against you, and your ideologies, that could like kind of flatline. You know what I mean? So It's dependent on what's happening in that moment. Like right now, everybody's going to be focusing on Christmas and like Thanksgiving and things like that. I do want to make a I'm thankful video, right? Because I am thankful, but I don't want to turn it into like a sob story. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. Like I can record to answer your question because I know I've just been explaining. I could do 5 or 6 like random blips using a trendy audio within the span of 10 to 15 minutes, right? Where I'm just like highlighting something, or I can do 20 or 30 takes for a minute plus long video, right? Like it's all mood dependent, like my motivation, how exhausted I am, based off of what the day had to offer.
Mhm.
Um I can make 6 videos in one day, or I go a week without making any videos and I just regurgitate old content. Because like I do utilize the on this day apparatus that they've included, because those
Yeah.
videos do pretty well. Um, and so it's random. I know a lot of people schedule and stuff in accordance, and then they just pump it out, based off a specific time, because that works for them. But I don't think anybody knows how the algorithm works, because it's just too random. So I'll push out a video when I feel like I need to. I do hit very specific time slots, and like for instance, if I put it out at like 1 o'clock my time and it flatlines, I'll delete it, re-edit, and I'll pump it out maybe a few hours later. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like it just
yeah.
depends. And a lot of people say don't do that, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. It flatlined. Like I don't want this just to sit here. It takes you off the FYP of my other content. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I gotta do what works for me. You know what I mean? So I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have the same piece of content across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, wildly different results between the three.
100%. I think about 75% of the time that's the case. I haven't been posting on here nearly as much as I should. Cuz I know there's like apps that you can download that allow you to cross post to everything in one fell swoop. I haven't looked into them, but generally the process of me uploading a video here has me jumping through so many more hurdles. It kind of just takes me out of it essentially. I already don't know how the algorithm works on TikTok. I don't know how it works on IG. I definitely don't know how it works over here on how it's pushed. Like I know it's TikTok shares it out to 300 random people. Some of them might be mutuals or people that you follow and things like that. And if there's any traction, it gets pushed out. But like
Yeah.
IG, it only pushes it out to your following. And unless your following shares it out to people that aren't following you, it flatlines, right? And then here, it could have like 10 views for like 3 hours, and then 3 hours later for some reason it gets 2,000 views, and then it gets 10,000 views 10 hours later, and then a day later flatlines, and then a week later it's 250,000 views. Like I don't know the rhyme or reason of how it's pushed here on YouTube either. So um I've had a few videos where it does really well on TikTok and it does really well over on IG. Like I'll get the same view quantity essentially. But like a video where I think should do really good on TikTok and I don't expect to do well over on IG, it's the opposite. Like I'll get 400 or 500 views on TikTok and then I'll get like 50,000 views over on IG, which is super random. So I don't know. I don't think we understand how it works. So it is what it is.
Yeah. They make it so confusing.
Right.
And I forget, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't know, maybe a month.
Mhm.
We posted a like 4-second video
Mm.
when the Disney GWP
Oh yeah.
came to actual DisneyStore.com before
Yeah.
Lego got
Yeah.
the little
Yeah.
TV thing. Derek made just like this 4-second clip. It was like something from like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or something.
Okay.
And 4 seconds is like, I don't know, it was 10,000 views we got on that.
Okay.
And exact same one on TikTok at like 150 views.
So the sweet spot for TikTok I know is you want to make a video, it's got to be 5 to 7 seconds. Anything shorter than 5 seconds, it doesn't have enough time to register it. I've seen a
Okay.
lot of videos that use like audio, so that use audio that's only at the 4 second mark, and if you're able to loop an additional same audio onto it to expand it out, or if you're able to add like 2 to 3 seconds, it'll do much better for sure. That's
Okay.
one thing that I have learned about TikTok. I don't know about IG. Majority of my posts are always going to be 6 seconds plus, so I think that's enough time for it to kind of register. uh 4 seconds might be like that weird spot, and that's why they don't push it out. Again, I don't know, but just going forward, if you want my recommendation, make it 5 seconds
Okay.
plus. Like 6 seconds is like the sweet spot, if anything. But
Okay.
yeah, why it hit 10K over on IG and then only 150K? I outside of just the length of the video.
No,
That's
it was 10K plus here on
oh
YouTube.
here, oh here. Okay, okay,
Yeah, and which was wild. And
gotcha.
then
Okay.
just a couple days later, he did a Minecraft video.
Mhm.
I forget how long that was, but it was a trailer for another one of his videos.
Okay.
The trailer for the video got 1,800 views or something on TikTok and like 300 here on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It's so random. And I know there's people out there who kind of know, and like I tried to give like a generalization earlier, but like I think, and I don't like to use like if you have a higher following, it's going to be better, it's going to be easier, but that's not the case whatsoever. Like I see accounts with like, 20, 30, 50,000 followers, or even, six-figure followings, and their videos are only like 300 views, right? Like 500 views, So it's like I don't think it's a following thing. It's just what can you connect with your audience within that first like 2 to 3 seconds, especially maybe even five, that keeps them like liking and reposting and then sharing, you know what I mean? And then like commenting, like, because for instance, I was at the register checking out at the Lego store, and I picked up, while they were like ringing my stuff up, the plastic little bricks that are like in different colors that have like the four studs, and you can open them up and you could put stuff inside. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cool, because there's like that audio of the box full of trinkets. A lot of people find that really cute. And I added the audio, and everybody and their mother, especially the women, this would be the cutest engagement ring box. And that just snowballed, that Lego had a quote unquote indirect engagement ring box. And that got like 2 million views, but it got 8
Wow.
million over on IG. Like it was 2 on TikTok, 8 million over on IG. And I've reposted it. I've had the video out. Like I've reposted the next year. Same result. And it's just because
Wow.
everybody snowballed off of that, like that minor, connecting point. It's like I would love to have my boyfriend or my girlfriend propose to me with that, like, with an engagement ring. And that's it takes that random little bit, right? So it's really random. It really, really is. Um, and I think a thing too to go off of this that might be a bit of an issue that a lot of people don't talk about is that artificial high we get out of it, right? Where it's like, oh my god, we did something so good, you know, so it's got to do good again, right? Like it worked. It 100% worked. I know what I'm doing. My next video, it's going to do the exact same thing, and it doesn't. You get that
Yeah.
really nice plateau, and then you just sink, right? Like, so it's very random, very, very random. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's. I think unless you have representation that's pushing out your content, like you have an agency or something like that, which I know is frowned upon by a lot of people, so you don't want to give you like your earnings and things like that. But like at the same time, like unless there's like some level of consistency, you just keep churning out the same thing over and over again, and it's a little different each time, and there's a little bit of familiarity with it, that can go a long way. Because if you look at my entire spread of videos, it's everywhere. I highlight the Lego store, you see a corner of my room, I'm zoomed in on a Lego set of some kind, or I'm highlighting a box art, it is all over the place, right? Like the only consistency, I'm making a video every day and putting it, you know?
Yeah. Now, lives are not recorded on TikTok, right? You can't go back and rewatch those.
Yeah, there's transcripts. There's transcripts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I would be able to go and look back at a live you did 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no. I have access to it if I was the host. You do not have
Okay.
access. I have to share
Okay.
it with people in order for them to see.
Okay.
Yeah, only the host has access. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a shame. Because here, even on our like really slow nights, holidays,
Mhm.
whatever, so many holidays midweek over the next month or so.
Yeah.
Uh, we have a really strong replay gang here.
Nice. Okay.
And I would say at least 50% of our shows have as much or more watch time as they do when they're live,
Nice.
which
That's awesome.
which I'm pretty happy about. It that
Yeah.
works out well. Um, so
I think it
moving to
helps who's in this
TikTok,
box too, probably.
it helps what?
Who's in this box also?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it also depends on who else is live.
Right.
Wednesday night seems to be like the floater night. Like
Okay.
if anybody's like going to have an off scheduled show,
Yeah.
Wednesday is the random night that they pick to do
Interesting.
it on.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
So that gets tough. And with all of the holidays coming up,
Right.
especially, it's all of the Thursday night guys are, trying to do Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Friday night guys, the hangover night kind of thing, or moving it back a little bit. That gets tough. And then there's the just random spontaneous streams. A lot of them seem to happen on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
But this is basically the only night of the week that's good for me.
Nice.
I mean, and we made our mascot a camel, so we have to do it on hump day.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. For
So
sure.
it's no longer an option. Yep. But yeah, Replay Gang has been really good to us, and so I would hate to move to well, I wouldn't move to another platform anyway, but it would be weird for me to go to TikTok and then not have the replay people.
Right.
Would,
Right. I see what you're saying. Are you monetized over here? If you don't mind me asking.
We are at that awkward spot where we could do super chats and whatnot, but we're not like real AdSense.
Gotcha.
We haven't hit 1,000 subs yet.
Okay. Because I was about to say, because yeah, the replay, because this is gonna be like a 3-hour thing, right, or whatever, 2-hour thing, or whatever, So if somebody's watching like some amount of that, and then because it's again like you said, the replay, yeah, nobody's watching 2-hour VODs over on TikTok. Like nobody's gonna go through the motion. Like the only apparatus where that's going to be viable is here and then over on Twitch, right? Like for the most part, because a lot of the people over there transplant it over to here essentially to re-upload and stuff, So it's weird because yeah, TikTok is your attention span is so minimal over there, right? That's why like going live is so difficult also at the same time, because if you can't keep engaging with your chat, your audience, you start to lose that, and then it just becomes whoever's in the boxes with you, and then a session where you were going to be live for 2 hours might be cut down to an hour and a half. You know what I mean? Or you don't actually get to do everything you wanted to do in that moment, right? Like if you're not so engaged, right? But yeah, I didn't even think about the replay aspect of it. Like people, the only things that I see regurgitated from a live as a video is if there was a funny joke or a story being shared or something to like inform people about within the live, and then the host cut it up and made a video about it. But like TikTok is more concerned about like money and gifts and things like that, and they push out this thing where if you received any number of gifts, they want you to cut and paste and like clip a video together, a montage, thanking everybody who sent you a gift in that video, which has nothing to do with your content. It's just another way for them to be like, yeah, thank you to the people who sent you gifts. Well, I did. I said thank you in my lives and stuff, like I will personally message them that I am grateful, but I don't need to make a video montage of like all of these things that were sent to me. You know what I mean? Like that feels
like gloating.
Exactly 100%,
Yeah,
100%, and it's not content. It's not content at all. Like it's just random. So yeah, that's the only
yeah,
thing you'll
that's
see
weird.
regurgitated from lives over on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole clipping alive feels weird to me. Now,
Yeah.
I understand that there's great benefit there. You can get additional content.
Right.
If you're in the educational space, there's a lot
Right.
of value there. Crystal Star was on
Okay.
2 or 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
and she had one or two lines that were funny when they happened,
Uh-huh.
but listening during the replay, where I was no longer the host, I was just like a viewer, right? A couple of them just had me howling, and it was like, man, I got to clip that. And it's like,
Yeah. But
when
now you're not in the context of the situation and you're taken out, right? Like how
uh,
do you explain that, right? Like
yeah,
I'm assuming that's the direction you're going a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two things. You have that where if you put in just enough context to stimulate some interest,
Right.
maybe people like, I want to know the rest of the story, so they come
Right.
over. But you also have the, if this is too out of context, if it's not done well, is that almost like putting the
It's
guest in a bad light,
right, right, right. The
which I
repercussion.
never want to do.
Right, right, right,
It's
right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
good. Yeah, it's real hard to judge intent on the internet if you're not very clear.
Right. So making like so I think that's a fantastic like we talked about this in another live that I was in because there's an individual I know Michael Reed Brick, he's over on TikTok, but he has a following over here, like this is his bread and butter is YouTube. He has his own city that he's working on and stuff. I know Digging mentioned them last week. um he he's trying to incorporate the videos he's making on YouTube over on the TikTok, right? Like he's trying to showcase his city and what he's working on, and he's making great videos. But the thing is, if you want to get people over here from over there, my recommendation is clip a piece of what you did over here and be like, hey, check this out. If you want to know more, go check me out over on YouTube. And then you'll see the full video, right? Like, and so if you wanted to promote the channel and you heard a really funny joke, and again, you said like you didn't have the context for it, and it's taken out of context and it makes things a little awkward. Like, I think clipping is fantastic. I think that's a great way of kind of getting you to see other perspectives and stuff because, again, it's that hook, right? Like, but it's also
Yeah.
very difficult too because if nobody understands the joke because they weren't there, they're not gonna like understand and they're not gonna take that next step to kind of help you out and just go like, oh yeah, I'll go check out the YouTube video that you're talking about. It's also now I have to go through 3 hours of this. You know what I mean? To like find that joke too, which is a little difficult, right? Like, because it's like, do they have the attention span to like go through the process of it?
Hmm. Yeah, I also need to figure out the method of clipping. Apparently, there's an actual like clip button here.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I haven't. I am very afraid of new things. I don't like to touch buttons unless I know what they do in advance. So I'm gonna have to look into that one.
I am in the same boat. Like it. So again, I majority of my content is me like doing like meme content like memes and things like that. But I do voiceover content too if there's like a trendy audio. And for the longest time, if you watched any of my stuff up until about like maybe 4 months ago, you would always see like this, like my arm quickly going back and like getting into like like formation to
Yeah.
record because I didn't know that there was a like stopwatch mechanism, like a breakdown where
Oh,
they
like
give
a
you three
timer. Yeah.
second a timer to give you 3 seconds to get into position, or if you had to like lift something, because I lift like Apocalypseburg all the time, or any one of my Lego sets, that takes a few seconds to me get in position, right? And like
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like nobody, I didn't understand. Like, do people have partners or friends who are just recording them constantly? Like, how are you in position to like voice the audio so quickly? Because I'm struggling over here and making sure you don't see my arm retract as I get back into position. I have to clip it a little bit too, but you still see a little piece of it, you know? So there's a timer button, simply put. And I was
Oh
like,
man.
it's been such a fantastic, like, you know, way for me to just kind of like make more genuine videos because again, I don't have to worry about that. You know, I don't have to worry about like, you know, editing out my arm and things like that. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I didn't explore, somebody else told me. And it helped.
Do you record natively in TikTok or do you use CapCut or what are you using?
I use specifically just TikTok. Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime I record anything like, you know, via my phone or anything like that, like I feel like the upload quality gets degraded when I go like straight over to TikTok because TikTok's always the first outlet, and then
Hmm.
they have a really nice feature before you like upload like your video. You can download it without like the watermark, and
Yeah.
so I just get that and then I regurgitate it over onto IG, and then if I'm feeling up to it, it gets regurgitated over here as well. You know what I mean? So it's just easier. It does all the I do all the editing in that like for the most part. Like I do have CapCut, but like I haven't explored it to the point where I feel like I need to because that's the thing too. And this is going back to like us talking about like other creators and how they do things. I try to do the most with what I have, with as little as possible. Like I don't have the resources to get lighting. I don't have the resources to improve my editing and things like that. Like I know there's programs that are cheap and things like that, but I want to be able to do what I can with what I have and work with that essentially. Would my life be a little easier with a little better lighting here and there and some editing software? Probably. But that's not a resource that I can justify at the moment, you know? So
Yeah.
it becomes a bit of a hindrance on my part. But yeah, just TikTok.
All right. Yeah. I've never even tried to record through TikTok
Okay.
because it's limiting, because you can only simply do TikTok there. With CapCut, basically you finish and then right away you can go TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all from
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
the one spot. And anytime there's an additional step for me with anything related to technology, that hurdle is about this high,
Right, 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 right,
and I'm gonna duck under it any time I possibly can.
right. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it just takes one person. Also, I just need to ask questions, right? Like I could probably get into CapCut and stuff and do things like that. But at the same time, it's a comfortability thing also, right? It's like, do I
Yeah,
really need to add this extra layer, right? Like, and I know everybody and their mother uses CapCut to, you know, edit and things like that, and it's made their lives so much easier and things like that, and that's great. But like for me, and it goes back to what I said about like Ethan, it's like if it's not broken, why fix it? You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
what I'm doing is working for me, you know what I mean? Like it's not like such a thing where I'm struggling, right? Like if I was struggling with my editing, you know, if I was having issues with what I wanted to accomplish, you know, then I would probably explore those different avenues, right? Those different
yeah.
resources and things like that. But it's one of those things where it's like it hasn't become a necessity where I'm like, yeah, I have to go and get these things because it's going to make my life easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and you've been doing it long enough. You got to be comfortable with it at this
Right.
point too,
Right.
right?
But yet I'm still learning about new buttons like timers and things like that.
Yeah.
The little
If,
things, the little things. I don't know.
I mean, isn't TikTok like the second largest search engine in the world at this point?
Is it?
I,
I wouldn't be surprised. Like it's got to be
yeah,
that in
I
Google, right? If anything,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Google's still number one. I think TikTok might be number two now.
uh,
And
global
there's
users.
there's probably videos on TikTok that'll show you how to use it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Do I look at those videos? No. 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 Not at all.
Well, you can't because as soon as you do, the algorithm will catch it, and that's all you'll see.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know how much doom scrolling you do over on TikTok, but like there's a bunch of accounts right now who claim to be like coaches and things like that. Like it was like, here, this is what you need to do to get out of the 300 view jail, and you need to follow these steps. But the first thing before you do that is I'm XOX, or I'm so and so, and you need to do all of this on my page. And then
Yep.
it isn't until about 45 seconds or even a minute they start to finally talk about how they can help you. And all I do is the minute I see it is first, and I unfortunately engage in this, and that's why I keep showing up. I go into their comment section, and the very first comment is like, I did everything you said, and I'm still at 200 views or even less. How is this helping? And what people don't understand is they are making that video to help themselves, not to help you, to just boost that video because they're already monetized and it's free engagement because it's rage bait almost. It's indirect rage bait of you are pissed because you did what they said and it's not working. You provided the engagement because you replicated the effect and you went back to the video, you liked it, you favorited it, you did everything they said, but it didn't work for you. So it's like false advertisement, also at the same time, So it's just kind of like, guys, stop falling for these videos. Like just make them uninterested, block the accounts, move on with your life. It won't be on your FYP because they're doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for you. I don't care if they claim to be coaches and things like that, or they're like, part of like an agency or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're doing it for their own thing. And it's all surface level,
There's a couple out there. One of them's got this super generic, it's social media growth or something it's called.
Okay.
This blonde chick, Ava, she's this little peanut and she wears like sweatsuits.
Okay.
Very like normal. It's all kind of sales, but without being, it's trashy, weird, nothing. Just to the point, all business. I'm fairly certain if you were to follow all of her tips that she provides, because there's so much information there,
Uh-huh.
I think you could go full time on social media just off of her content.
I
But she offers coaching and all of that too.
Right.
But she says, listen, I'm just giving you more over there. You don't necessarily even need to pay me a penny ever. I'm just going to give it to you, you all of it.
And
if you
there's
want,
a few bright spots, right? There's a few individuals who legitimately just want to do that. Like you talked with Digging last week about that topic, essentially about helping growth and things like that. I want to dabble on that a little bit, where it's just like, it's very difficult because, again, I don't want to deal with that comment thread of like, well, I did everything you said. Why is it not working for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then I don't want to have to keep regurgitating the fact that it takes time. You got to be patient. I don't want to repeat and rinse, the same, headspace, because you just get so many people who will engage, who want that expectation and stuff, which is fantastic. But a lot of people who want that instant gratification as well. You know what I mean? And like, just expect it to just work right on the spot. They don't want to work for it. They just want it to work right there and then, so they don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's really crazy to me. Like, the amount of people who like, I have to tune out those lives, especially when that is the topic of conversation. Like, I have a following, but I don't consider myself an influencer. I make content. I get paid now for it. So I can say I'm a content creator. I make content and I get paid for it, depending on if my videos do well or not. But I won't promote a product because if I don't actually know what the product is, I'm not going to go and, promote it. But I have so many people where I join a live and the first thing they say is, we've got a celebrity in the house. And I'm just like, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. And they're just like, oh, stop being so humble about it and stuff. I'm like, or, stop being so like, low maintenance about it and stuff. And I was like, the following I have is only so big because this is a goal for you and you will get there. But it is inconsequential because I'm hanging out with you. So what is the matter in my following if I'm hanging out with you? Like, don't you think I should be hanging out with other people then at that point? You know what I mean? Like, who have like similar followings? No, because it doesn't matter. That number is very arbitrary. I don't talk to 12,000 people every single day. I talk to maybe like a couple thousand. And of those couple thousand, I get comments from like 50 or like 20. And I get a couple hundred likes. It's a percentage of a percentage of a percentage. So do I really have that following? No, I don't. Because not all 12,000 people are watching my stuff daily that I post. You know what I mean? And I'm choosing to hang out with you because you're doing something really cool because we have a common interest called Lego. That should be the topic of conversation, not my numbers. Because I didn't bring up your numbers. What if I don't it shouldn't be a barrier. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like where like that's like you're at this whole nother ballpark. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so therefore I need to treat you a little different. I'm like, please don't. I'm the same as you. I'm just a human being, you know, and I just want to talk about Lego, you know, simply put.
Yeah. And the way that the algorithm works now is you could do just one crazy thing, pick up, 5, 10, 15, 100,000 followers, and then one day later, none of them are ever showing your videos again.
Right.
They don't even have to unfollow or unsubscribe or whatever.
But they do
They're just not fed
because they're like bots and things like that, right? Like they're you know, it's those same videos that do really well, right? And then in the very next video you post because you're expecting the same thing to happen again, you get only 300 views, and then you're just like, what happened? Why did I flatline? You know, so it's very weird. Like I do kind of want to disagree with what you just said though. I don't think that if you do a video that gets 1 million views, that you get a crazy amount of followers as a result.
Yeah.
I experienced that like 3 years ago. When I got my first 1 million view video, I had like 2,000 followers out of it. That was awesome. But I didn't reach 10K. A lot of people who were trying to make it big, who wanted to go viral with a big video, they immediately hit 10K and either their accounts flatlined or they continue. They maintain the consistency, right? But if I have a video that does north of 50K, 100K, I get maybe 50 followers, 100 followers, you know? It's the engagement, right? That's what leads to that potential follow. You like the video, that's great. But if you're not engaging with it or you're checking out my other content and then you're hitting the follow button after that, I didn't gain anything out of that. I got views. That's great. But I got nothing out of that because you did not, maintain, that threshold, right? It's exactly what you just said, where it's like you post that big video and you don't get anything the next, And so if you are doing informative content, which yes, that's going to get you that engagement and that follow, right? And you can definitely see that with a lot of like Lego content creators, especially. But if you are posting like a niche, trendy audio, and yes, it does really well on the numbers, but you don't get very much out of that, and it's just very surface level, right? Like I had a video, and this is another thing too that a lot of people don't like to talk about over on TikTok, which is very weird because we're all trying to post content and get views and things like that. It's the discussion of views and like how we can probably try to improve upon it. You know what I mean? Like, and how maybe sharing our thoughts about it, because everybody just sees it as like an outlet to be like, oh, I'm braggy. I did this well because I got X amount of views. No, I'm sharing with you my thoughts, of like, if this happens, what to expect. You know what I mean? Like, but I had a video just under 200K, right? Fantastic. That's awesome. I was expecting 10,000 likes, maybe 15,000 likes, because if it's getting pushed out to the point where 200,000 eyeballs, or 400,000 eyeballs have been shown this video, that maybe 10% of them like the video. And maybe 1% of them even left a comment and like favorited it, you know what I mean? Or even shared it to somebody. That's why I got 200,000 views, right? 200 likes. So the metric is like 0.0001% instead of being 0.01%. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's like, why did this get pushed out to 200,000 people, bots, whatever, it doesn't matter, it counts, and only 200 people like this? How does that work? You know what I mean? And that's the question I want to have. Like, that's the conversation I want to have with people. But the minute they hear you say you got 200,000 views, they're just like, that's lame. I never got 200,000 views. What's it like? You know what I mean? You're put on that pedestal. You're popular. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. I don't know. I just wanted to share that as an example of like, where even if a video gets pushed, it doesn't have the engagement, it doesn't have the traction. It doesn't mean anything. It's cool. It's there. But
Yeah,
it's just
and
random.
there's it's hard to have those conversations because, like you say, people people give you that must be nice kind of attitude and things like that, which that sucks. I mean, the response to that is congratulations, that's awesome.
I'm happy for you. Or
Yeah,
what did you do? Like how
yeah,
can you help me? You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
would love to help everybody.
yep,
But if you are unfortunately jealous immediately or like unhappy with the prospect that another person did this, again, it goes back to that like artificial high. The number means nothing. It got me nothing. That's what I'm trying to explain. It's an
yep.
artificial high. I felt really good about it, but the very next day I posted a video and it got like a couple thousand views. I was back to where I was before. You know what I mean? So unless I do a response video or whatever, but even then, that doesn't gain a lot of traction, right? Like, so it's just really weird the reception that you get, right? And it's that instant gratification again, that I keep saying talking about and stuff, So it is what it is. So I have to pick and choose the conversations I have with people in that regards because they take it based off of the fact that, again, I know I'm rehashing it, but it's like you got 200,000 views. Be grateful. You should be happy. There's no problem in that. And it was like, well, there is because there's a disparity with the metrics, and that's what I want to talk about. But you
Yeah.
don't want to talk about that.
So, well, I guess the conversation then is if there's such a big gap there, what causes the gap, and how do you improve that? Is it, adding an additional question? Is there Does there need to be like a secondary hook in the video somewhere to keep people going?
I
What
almost
drives
took it
the
down.
engagement?
I almost took it down because it hit 2,000 views. I was like, okay, cool, 2,000, but it only had like 10 or 15 likes, which is a very weird disparity also. So I noticed the potential trend of like there being a disparity between likes and views, and I almost took it down, but I was like, nah, I hit a couple thousand views. That's the number I'm hoping for, before I'm satisfied kind of, and I can just move on with my day. It's when it started to spike. And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. What's happening here? You know what I mean? The audio for it is really, really dumb. The audio, it's that trendy little bit that you see where people are like, the perfect place to hide your money. Nobody will find it,
Mm,
essentially. And I just
yep.
hid a $20 bill in my Barrett door. Like I just put it in the gates and I closed it up.
Yep.
And that was it.
Okay. Yeah, I saw
So
that.
that's the hook, right? That's it. It's a place to put a $20 bill. And people left comments like, oh my God, you hide a $20 bill in that? And I was like, yeah, that's what I had on me at the time. I'm sorry. But it's just like still, it's like it was a funny little bit. The previous time I put it up, it only hit 10,000 views. It had like 300 or 400 likes and things like that. So it did really well. So it was just weird to see it do better, but with even less engagement. You know what I mean? So it's a weird
Mhm.
regurgitation, I guess is what I'm trying to say, of the same thing,
Yeah.
a year removed essentially. Because it was like an on this day video essentially, and I just put it up. I was like, I don't have anything to post today. It's a cute little bit. I'll put it up, see what happens. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you look down my page, that is the one weird thing where it's like, oh, that's really cool. You did really well. And then you look and I'm like, you didn't do very much there, like it should have been like 10,000 views, and I would have been like, all right, that's fine, whatever. Yeah, really
Yeah,
random.
that's odd because at that point, what could you even do differently in that video to change that? That's the
Nothing. Like that's the crazy part. Is like I take it down and like maybe change the caption a little bit, but even then, there's no guarantee of it getting back to that 2,000 view mark, right? Like that's the thing.
yeah.
I only take down videos that only get like uh within the first hour, hypothetically, TikTok is supposed to push out your video to 300 people, you know,
Yeah.
and see what happens, right? That is the general push that TikTok likes to do, right? The videos where I only get like 25, 50, 100 views within the first like half hour, 45 minutes, where it's like, okay, maybe I have to change the caption a little bit. I consider those flatlining, and I'll repurpose them, and I'll post them out 15 minutes later, an hour later, and they'll get back to that same like plateau that I'm used to with my numbers, where it's like, 1,000 views, 2,000 views, 5,000 views, and things like that. It's like, okay, so I just have to change a little bit of something, like, but because it had hit like 2,000 views, I was like, well, I'm not going to change anything. That's just weird. I think it should level out, right? And it didn't, so really random anomaly to the whole situation, I guess.
Yeah, that stuff is always kind of fascinating because you can't, for a video like that, unless somebody wants to, there's always the people that have negative things to say, of course. But
so if I had gotten negative comments, that would have been great, because that would have been engagement. Like, I didn't get very many negative comments. It was just like, oh, that's really cool. It was like 10, like, so it's again, I got the 200 likes, but then I had like my 25 to 30 comments on it. You know what I mean? And only a couple were like negative or jokingly, right? Like, I think the thing that I think happened is somebody, so I don't know if that's a feature on here, but over on TikTok, you can pay to promote, get more views, get more follows, and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't do that with any of my content, nor do I feel like anybody should, because that's just completely artificial and you just get a bunch of bots. But it makes me wonder if somebody else did that just randomly for this to get the push. And that's what happened, because the video should have not been pushed if it didn't get the engagement. And it didn't get any of the engagement. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just such a, again, it's fascinating and it's random. And every time I try to bring it up with people, they're just like, whatever. You got 200,000 views. That's you should just be happy about that. And I'm like, no, it's everything else. You know what I mean? Like, this is a very good conversation to have, but people don't care.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting, but the real excitement is learning from it and being able to recreate it.
100%. And maybe I could share that with you, but because you don't want to engage in that, like, then I just stop talking about it, right? Like, if I bring up stats in any way, it's kind of like a gray area. It's a taboo, like, and again, we talked about it where it's, instead of like, oh, congratulations, it's like, nah, I don't care. There's people on the app who don't really care about that type of stuff, and that's totally fine. It is what it is.
My God, the amount of time I spend in YouTube Studio on my phone looking at analytics, because I find it so fascinating.
I do too. Yeah.
You don't get enough information because they can't. They have to run the business. But I would love to know more about what makes it tick, and even how they calculate some of the stuff.
Right.
Because I don't understand. I've only made one video, I think, ever on YouTube. Derek does all of our content over there.
Okay.
I made one video. It was a build video of the Source Dragon emotion.
Okay.
I think I had 3.5 hours recorded. The video was 2.5 minutes long. Yep. I cut out a lot. But I think it came out pretty well in the scheme of things. And I had a really good time with it. And 2.5 minute video, I think last I saw was like 18 hours of watch time, which for my little channel and the one video I've ever made, I was happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I want to know all of the little details. I want them to tell me somehow why somebody watched that.
Right.
And
you want feedback, essentially, so you can try to replicate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I tried to, pay attention for, SEO in the title and things like that. But I really want to know, so were they searching for the Source Dragon? Was it just because it was a dragon in general? Is it just because it was Lego?
I think it was because it was Ninjago. Ninjago's very popular on here.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, Ninjago is just one of those themes in particular that is just, it's got an audience on all the platforms, and especially here. especially here. And I'm assuming you put hashtags and things like that, right? Like,
I don't remember. Honestly, most of my descriptions are Chat GPT that I just tune
oh,
up.
okay, okay,
Uh, I do, of course, read them and edit them. I don't
right,
just
yeah,
post
yeah,
up
yeah.
blindly, which strangely people actually do. They don't even read it; they just copy and paste, which is odd. I'm not entirely sure I understand hashtags. Like I mean, theoretically, I understand them, but
Yeah.
are they still relevant like they used to be?
I mean,
Is
also,
that
I don't on TikTok. They're not because they minimized it. They've cut you down to
okay?
5. Like,
Yeah,
so I think it goes back to what you brought up about like SEO and stuff. Like, what are you hooking with? You know, what is the constant word being reiterated? And I'm wondering if that's what's drawing the push, right? Like, so my video a couple days ago on TikTok was I just said I used one of the CapCut templates and I just was like when the Lego employee asks if you want to use your points for during like VIP double points weekend, and the CapCut template was the eagle going, you know, no, you know, and everybody in my comments was like, yeah, absolutely not. You should never use points, but it's because I reiterated points and things like that, so it got pushed out because it's VIP
yeah,
weekend, right? And then I did a video today of just another CapCut template where I talked about we're gonna go back to the Lego store on Black Friday, even though we just spent all our money and bought our Lego on VIP weekend last weekend, you know. And it was just this like CapCut template again of I think it was like a pastor or somebody going like, "We're gonna go again," you know. They were just singing the song, "We're gonna go again," and nobody's gonna stop
yeah,
us, you know. But it's because I used points in the first video and I talked about Black Friday in the second video is maybe what the push was because of the SEO, right? Like, is because
yeah,
that is what's relevant right now in the Lego community is what just happened last weekend and what's happening this weekend, essentially, right? Like, is people going and shopping for those Lego deals. So a little, you know, joke video, a trendy video, like an audio, it just works, right? But like, if you were to talk about puppies right now with Lego, I don't think that you're going to get very much traction, right? Like, it's just really
yeah,
random. You know what I mean? Like, even if you put puppies 6 times in your captions, SEO, hashtags, and things like that, you know? So
yeah,
it's what's catchy right now, trendy, if you will, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I would imagine at least up until now and for the next couple of days, Lego Star Trek will still be kind of hopping
Yes.
with the Enterprise coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Day after tomorrow. But yeah,
Day. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah,
night, technically. But yeah.
it's still Wednesday.
Yeah. Everybody's forgetting tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I was at the Lego store today, and the employee was like, "I'll see you tomorrow," and I was like, "I won't see you tomorrow because you won't be here because you'll be at
yeah,
home."
yeah,
You know, so it's cool.
yeah. Man, today has been like a 3 day day.
Nice.
Today is my youngest birthday.
Oh, happy
So
birthday!
we did like a mini celebration for her first thing this morning before I
Nice.
went to work. So in my head, I went to work and it was a whole new day because
Yeah.
we had already had her little celebration.
Right.
Then we worked and then we drove out here, and this is almost like a third day in the day. And yeah, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow all screwed up.
Is your
Where
baby
am I?
into Lego?
Uh, she's she's into being annoying with the Lego, and she's only 4.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, she's only 4.
Oh,
My
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, my oldest does pretty well.
Okay.
She's gonna be 9 next week.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, 2 birthdays very close together.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah,
That's
6 days
crazy.
apart. Yeah,
The reason why I bring it up is because like one of my favorite activities to do is go to the Lego store to get like my free minifig on my birthday. So that's the first thing I always ask. Like a lot of people when I find out it's their birthday, it's like, don't like, are you gonna go to the Lego store and get the free minifig and stuff? You know?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I
huh?
you don't need to show proof or anything. Some stores are cracking down on it. I've made a few pieces about it. I'll share them with you. But
Okay.
simply put, you just have to go and they'll be like, yeah, you can either pick one of their minifigs that they have set aside, or like something in the BAM station essentially, and they just build a minifig from that.
Oh, that's cool. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so Aria's birthday is next Tuesday. All right, so we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
They opened up a new Lego store.
Nice.
It's what is it, a mile and a half from my house? Like it's one street away.
That's crazy. If you don't mind me asking, where are you located?
Boston area.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The complete opposite side of the country.
That's all good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, because I think I know. I remember a couple people posting about the grand opening for that store and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Were you able to
Yeah.
go to the grand opening at all, or?
Yes. Yep.
Nice.
We weren't there for day one. We went grand opening weekend, but we still got the
Tile?
sets and got the in the mural.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Aria ended up getting 4 pieces in that mural.
Nice. Did you get the floor tile as well, or?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
We got a couple of those.
Very cool.
It's a tiny little store, but
still a Lego store. It works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's still a Lego store. The staff there is great. Very nice people. Which
I think they have to be because HQ is just in that same area. They actually have to uphold some level of like promptness, because they don't want any corporate like coming in randomly one day to be secret shoppers and stuff,
Yeah, I mean that store is 12 miles away.
Gotcha.
From HQ, so yeah, very close. Yeah, it was funny. So I don't know if you saw the videos of Shy and his trip through New England.
Yes, I did.
He hit like 8 Lego stores in like 6 days or something.
It was crazy. Like and he was with his kids too. So it's like the logistics of that is insane, because like as one person, that's like, or doing it yourself, that's pretty, it's not impossible, but you bring in the whole family and getting them in the loop of things, that's a whole nother level of like dedication right there. But yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah. It was funny. He posted one of them like, "Oh man, I had no idea you were out here. That's crazy. That used to be my local store."
Oh, okay.
And you know how it works with stories and whatnot. When it gets posted, it's not necessarily real time. It could have been days ago.
Right. As it shouldn't. It shouldn't be real time, just because you don't want people to pinpoint things. But
yeah. But I'm like that, and I don't know Shy super well, but I know him well enough, whatever. So I saw that and commented on it, and then I don't know, it was like 3 hours later, he posted a story at the new store.
Oh.
And I knew he had already come and gone. He's on this whirlwind trip. Like, oh man, I wish I had known you were a mile from my house and you drove right by me.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where I'm at,
No, yeah.
And it was a whirlwind kind of thing. He wouldn't have had time anyway. But it's like, man, he's so close. And
what could have been? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've given some grief to some friends because they are like you, like they're just a few miles away, or maybe they're 10-15 minutes away or whatever, and like it's like, I'm here. It's like, yeah, but I'm here for other things. Like, it doesn't matter, I'm here. Like, it would have been nice to see you in person, it could have been for 5 minutes, like, but again, I think this is more coming from the fact that I know this person and like they know that I'm in this area, so like I felt like a little like chafed by the fact that they're like yeah, and it is what it is. But yeah, I not knowing that Shy was in the area and stuff, yeah, I mean, it would have been cool for sure, absolutely. Like
yeah. And there's also the problem with when people say they're from Boston to somebody not from the area. Everybody just says, "Oh, I'm from Boston." If you're from anywhere eastern Massachusetts, because it's a little state, nobody knows. I say Boston area because, well, I live here and I know I don't live in Boston.
Right.
So I'm not going to say I live there.
It's a generalization to kind of help, right? Yeah.
but I do really mean Boston area. Like,
Yeah.
if I stand on top of my building, I can see the city.
Nice. Okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but people from outside of the area, they don't know what Boston area means. That means it could be anywhere.
I use
So I
Seattle as a
understand.
generalization because I don't want people to pinpoint. Like I've already had some unfortunate issues that have surfaced that
Yeah,
we won't go into that. But like, um, it's if I give a specific city, my city isn't like big either. Like I don't want people to start like hounding me, at that point because
yeah,
I have highlighted very specific features in my area, but I've given again generalizations about those things, that would like pinpoint. Um, but there's like this level of like entitlement, right? Like with like social media where it's like, well, I follow you, I know you, I watch you all the time. Tell me everything. I need to know, and it's like, and people need to understand that there's boundaries to this. That's a little psychotic that you think that, that's what you need to know about this is that you know exactly where I am, even if you're not in the area. But like, it's just like I don't have that kind of relationship with you, right? But if it's
yeah,
somebody like I've known for years and they know I'm in this area, like if I am going to go to New York, hypothetically, just New York, I know 8 to 10 people who are on TikTok, on YouTube, on IG that I am mutuals with, or I've had plenty of conversations with, or I've met in person at other conventions where I will message them and be like, hey, if you have time, I would love to meet up. Let's grab a slice of pizza. Or if you just meet me at the Lego store, let's make this work. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If I get a no, or I'm busy, or I'm at work, I can't do it, perfect. No problem. I
yeah,
accept that. You know what I mean? I don't have an expectation that you need to stop what you're doing to accommodate me. But like it's also that thing where it's like maybe you should have thought about me as well. You know what I mean? Like and again, you don't have that relationship with Shy. That's totally understandable. I'm talking about in the sense of people I do know.
yeah,
If it's somebody like Shy, for instance, and I'm in California, I'll reach out to him. I know that he's in that area. I'm from Southern California, so I'm familiar with the area and stuff. Like, hey, dude, I'm in town. If you want to meet up, it'd be really, really awesome. And if he's too busy, he's too busy. I move
yeah,
on. I'm not gonna hold that against them. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of people who do that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Ironically, I hold it against that one person I talked about who was in my area, but that's because he deserved it.
yeah. Yeah. And there's, for most of us, outside of like a log, if whoever's in that kind of situation, most of us don't see other Lego people in our day-to-day lives.
Right, right,
So when the opportunity is there, you really
right.
want to take advantage of it, especially
Absolutely.
if there's somebody cross country far away, they happen to
100%.
be there.
100%. Like I have an abundance of Lego in my state. Like an abundance. I have 9 bricks and minifigs. I have 10 third-party stores. 2 of them are franchises. And I have 4 official Lego stores. 3 are within like an hour and a half to 2 hours of each other.
Wow.
Like and the bricks and minifigs and third-party stores are all within like 3.5 hours of each other. So
Okay.
I have 2 lugs. One which is an official lug, one is a under the radar lug. Like the lug that I'm in has like 1,500 members. They're not all active, but we have a ton of
Jeez.
Lego. A lot of people love Lego in my state. So it's almost like impossible not to come across Lego in some capacity in my state. So that is my driving point whenever I know somebody's visiting is like, especially if they like Lego. Seattle's known for food. We will get food. I'm a foodie. I love food. But you want to bring your passport? Let's get you some stamps. Let's show you a couple of the shops because I have told you that we have plenty of stores. You are going to find something that you probably can take home with you, that you can't find in your area because there's a lot of places that don't have that abundance. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
access. I can show you that access. We can go and see those things. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not trying to sell you on coming up here, but I kind of am because you're going to like it. You're going to have a good time. And then we can get food.
Awesome. Yeah, man, that's a lot of Lego.
Yeah.
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 Big state too, so that helps.
I don't think the bricks and minifigs is gonna do well in the grand scheme of things. Like that's just my personal thought. Like it's just too much of it. But so far everybody's fine for the most part. maybe because of just how many people are into Lego in Washington, they're able to circulate and get the stock they need and stuff, because some of the shops are fantastic. Like, they're well run, they have tons of available things. Some of them not so much, but they've also kind of gone up, like in terms of quality, in terms of like what they carry, what they've been able to acquire and things like that. But like, I don't need to go to a Bricks and Minifigs, every 5 minutes. I just need to go to one Bricks and Minifigs if I really, really want to. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, we have our first Bricks and Minifigs coming.
Okay.
They were supposed to open next month, and they had some permitting issues, some
Gotcha.
construction trouble. So February now, I think,
Nice.
is what they're saying. They are going to be located right in between two Boston Brick Co. is the big one out here.
Yeah,
And
I was just about to ask about that.
yeah, they're going to be basically halfway in between the two stores.
Gotcha. Okay.
More or less. And we went to Boston Brick for the first time last weekend.
Nice.
Blown away.
Yeah.
The store was so good, and you walk in and it feels like you were surrounded by people who love Lego.
Yeah.
Nothing about it felt corporate.
Yeah.
Nothing felt cookie cutter. It was just, you could feel the joy of the hobby as soon as you walked in the door.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a true mom and pop shop mentality, right? Because they have a passion for it and stuff, right? Because a lot of those people who are like setting up their own shops now, it's because they're done, going to conventions, or they just can't do it anymore, or they just have a stockpile of stuff that they're not doing anything with, and it's just like, it's not profitable, quote unquote. Like, I mean, you'll make money. Brick and mortar is just so difficult, especially for Lego, in my opinion. Because like you literally have a company that is sourcing out any possible way to franchise in any state, right? And I'm not saying that they're setting a bar or anything, but they're kind of setting a bar, like, in terms of like what to expect, right? But if you are able to have such a connection within your community, especially like if you've been like that person who keeps going to conventions, you are a vendor at those conventions, and you've been able to stockpile that Black Pearl, the Voltron, the random modular, and now you're just like, well, I can't build these because I don't have anywhere to put them. You set up a brick and mortar, and those are some beautiful display pieces, right? Like when you go into a store, that's what I want to see, is just something cool. It's a little expensive, but it gets my eye immediately, right? Like the minifig selections at a bunch of these stores is absolutely insane, like in terms of like the quantity and the quality, right? Because they're just so expensive. I love it when a Lego store, a third-party store, incorporates like a community build, like either it's their own mock, or they get some local like mock, like, or like Lego artists to like come in and help build a little city or whatever, or maybe showcase a few pieces, right? So you get to meet some people who are in the area too. That's a huge thing, But yeah. I would love to visit. I went to Boston in 2019. That was the last time I ever went, but that was also before I got into Lego. But I would love to make my way back over to the East Coast. The East Coast is like one of my favorite places. I love New York. I'm sorry, Boston's cool. It's not my top, but I love New York.
I understand.
But by extension, because I'm already there and the proximity, I wouldn't mind going to Boston. I wouldn't mind going to Philly, and hitting up a couple other Lego stores and, getting my stamps and things, because the proximity is there. You're able to go to those places within like a couple hours, if not like 3 to 4 hours, and you can make a day out of it, right? And then you get to go to those independent operated stores and stuff too, which is awesome.
Well, you let me know if you make it out this way.
I will. 100%.
All of these states are clustered together real tight.
Yeah, I got you. Now, this is why also I love these like opportunities too, like that. Like it's like, oh my god, you want to talk to me? Cool. But I now know where you are, so I have a mental note. Like I'm like, I know somebody out there. I can like totally like reach out and talk to, because I constantly want to see other stuff in other places that I don't normally have that opportunity, because yeah, I have an abundance in my state, but I don't want to just see my stuff. You know what I mean? I want to go see the other stuff in other places. I collect stamps. I have a passport full of Lego stamps from a bunch of cities I visited. I want to add more. I want more stamps.
Well, we have a lot of Lego stores nearby.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, what did we figure? 5 within 45 minutes, not of each other, but of me. Just kind of
Nice.
spoke
That's
out.
awesome. That's
So
awesome. I'll definitely keep you in mind then.
yeah. Yeah.
Did you happen to go to Brick Fair Philly by chance?
No,
No.
no. I found out about it too late,
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
yeah, trying to separate from the children on short notice is not the easiest thing. But
Right. Yeah. Next year.
it's so
Next year.
close. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because that's an easy ride. I mean, that's 5.5 hours or something. That's
Yeah. Just make a day out of it, essentially.
yep. Yeah, that's an easy trip because there is nothing out here for conventions.
Yeah.
So that would
I
be
get
good.
a lot of questions because I have a lot of friends out in that area, and the only up until Brick Fair Philly, the only thing I could think of was that New York City Comic Con had like a thing for local lugs to like partake in and stuff, but
Mhm.
even that was like minimal at best because you needed the participation of like NYC lug and stuff to come in to like display. But that cuts out like Boston, Philly, all the other major cities because you guys aren't
Yeah,
going to want to travel to a major convention. You want something Lego centric, and there isn't really
yeah,
anything like. And Brick Fair Philly, I guess. I'm sorry, not Philly. Virginia is an option, but like again, are you going to make that trek down there as well?
yeah, yeah. That's a bit of a hike.
Hmm.
I'd like to think we'll do it eventually. Uh, right now, Chicago is just going to stay the focus.
Yeah,
It'll be our one event next year, most likely.
nice. You also have
Um,
Atlanta BrickCon happening, but that's like in February. So
yeah, yeah. That's still short, right? That's 3 days. They do Friday,
yeah, I
Saturday,
think it's
Sunday.
two or 3 days. Yeah.
Uh,
It's not a full length thing like
yeah,
Chicago Brick World. No. Yeah.
yeah. If I'm going to travel, I want to be able to really
Maximize
make
your
something
time.
of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm in the exact same boat. Like if I had been able to do Philly, my idea was to add 2 to 3 days and go to New York
Yep.
and fly out of there because I was so close, right? Like so I would be able to go to King of Prussia, go and get my stamp there, go to the convention, meet up with people, but then go to Philly, hit up the 2 to 3 stores in that area, and then make my way up to New Jersey because there's like a outlet store in New Jersey, and then go from New Jersey up to essentially New York to go to Flatiron and Fifth Avenue essentially, and also go to New York, get some food and stuff, and then fly out. But it all fell apart, unfortunately. Timing,
Yeah.
money, all that. So it is what
Yep.
it is.
Yeah. The money part gets tough.
Yeah.
Chicago's cheap though. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of relative, but we're not staying at the Rennie. We stay kind of next
Got it.
door.
Yeah. I
It's
try
so
to always
cheap.
get something outside. I know the Renaissance is a convenience, but I don't think it is really. Like it's the rooms are fine, but like I like cheap, and those rooms are not
Yep.
cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. We stay basically next door,
Nice,
right?
cool.
And unfortunately, I'm one of the last like smokers on earth. But
Gotcha. Okay.
I can light a butt at the back door, and before I finish it, I'm at the doors of the convention,
Yeah,
and I save what $80 a night,
yeah,
and I don't even need to move the car.
yeah.
Why would I not save $80 a night,
Yep,
especially if we're there for a week? You
yep.
know, that seems crazy.
I've stayed at two
Uh,
different hotels the last couple of years. One I was very fortunate to get, but it was the furthest. It was about 10 minutes away. But like I have plenty of friends who had cars and stuff, so it didn't matter. They were willing to drive and stuff. So and we didn't spend the entirety of our times ever at the convention center because of course we could see setup, we could see some of the displays, but if we weren't doing any of the extra events, we wanted to explore. We wanted to go get food. We want to go see some stuff. Like I make it a thing where even though I've already been to Giordano's or Portillo's, I still need to go to those places because I like the food. But I also now want to try other places, right? So we just add that to the list. So it's just one of those things where I have a group of people who, if there's not one person, but there's multiple people, they're all going to have cars in some capacity. So you will find somebody who's just be able to drive and stuff. So it's great. It's fantastic. But
yeah,
yeah, it's I like it not because of the actual event anymore. I like it because the people I get to meet in person. who I now just discovered, or like who didn't have the opportunity last year or the year before to go and finally are making that, opportunity. It's their focus because it is the biggest convention. There's plenty to do. There's lots to see, but it's also just seeing people, hanging out with people, getting food, getting to know people, putting a face to the name, or even just like being next to a person and being like, oh, hey, you're really real, you're not just some person behind a screen, you know what I mean? Like, so it's making that connection and stuff. Like, goes back to the networking thing for me. I really like that part.
Yeah. Yeah. It's impossible to meet everybody.
Right.
Which is crazy too.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't think you are. I don't think you're supposed to, honestly. I know a lot of people, and that creates its own FOMO, right? Like, where it's like, oh, I wish I had done this. It's like, next year. Just make it happen next year, Like, because, like, I have FOMO from Philly. There were some people there who I've been friends with, who I've known for years, and I met because of TikTok. And I would have loved to have met in person for the first time, I just wish it worked. I really, really did, because it would have been really cool to see them and whatnot. Like, and that's my favorite thing. I love to exchange stickers, photos, and maybe participate in some activities, and such. But like, I know a group of us want to try to make medieval times happen, because I went many, many, many years ago in Southern California when I was a kid, but I would like to go as an adult, because it's different. And a lot of my friends have never experienced it. So it'd be really fun to just do this random thing that isn't Lego related, but we get to have food, drink, and we have like, entertainment, and such,
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things that started off on the list for last year and ended up getting scratched off.
Yeah.
It's tough because you do have that FOMO factor there for that too. But also when the bonding time is there and you are having a really valuable conversation, you're making a good connection, you don't want to break away from that.
Absolutely.
Just to check something off the list,
It shouldn't be something that like ends up like ruining like a moment for sure. Because like I value a lot of people's aspirations and expectations, but like I'm not trying to tell them that, you need to slow down, but I'm trying to tell them to slow down a little bit, because I get that you want to do all of these things with all of these people. It's just not going to work out, because you're just going to have these moments that surface where you actually need to take the time and appreciate what's happening and let that like run its course, essentially. Like, again, that conversation, like there are so many people, and I talk about this on my lives a little bit, where it is a community, but because of everybody being in their own like circles, I consider it more of like an ecosystem where it just kind of gels,
Yeah.
You're not going to vibe. This group isn't going to vibe with this group because they don't interact, but there's a few people in each of those groups who are now going to this event. And so now you're going to try to make that work, right? That you want to try to make this thing happen. But maybe they want to go do something else entirely, right? Like, it's not going to work within your schedule. Like, I appreciate that you want to refine an idea, a list of ideas where all of us as a group go. But the more people you include, the more disjointed it gets, because you're going to have people fall to the wayside and be like, well, I didn't want to do this. And just because I'm part of the group, it doesn't mean I have to go and do that thing. I can do that thing later. I can focus my own time on that thing. It doesn't need to be slotted at this very moment. You know what I mean? And so that's where I think a lot of people need to like, take a step back, even though it's 5 days or 4 days, however many days you're going, just enjoy the moment, take it in, coast a little bit if you can, say hi to everybody that you can, like a lot of us put out posts saying that we're at Chicago, let's meet up and stuff, and so that lends to the ability to like network and meet up and finally put a face to the name and things like that. But you're going to have moments where it's just something is just not going to happen. And what's going to end up happening because of that is you're going to have people going like, I'm so mad because I planned this. I planned to make this work and it didn't happen. Well, it's because you set that expectation. You made it so that you felt like this was a mandatory thing that you needed to do, instead of just enjoying the moment, and just like taking your time, relaxing, treating it like a vacation almost, like a proper vacation.
Yeah. And if one thing falls falls through, that's an opportunity for something new and awesome to happen.
100%.
Yeah.
Like my biggest thing for me, because I'm an idiot, I didn't realize there was a second hall with more displays. I
Oh,
kept
yeah.
seeing posts where like people were showing trains, they were showing life-size Power Ranger weapons that were like separated and then combined. And I was like looking, I had walked the main hall many times and I was like, I am not seeing any of this. Where are you seeing it? And on the last day I looked across and I was all like right outside and I was like, that's the hall. That's the hall I missed. The one room I didn't go in. I kept walking past thinking, I don't care. I don't, that's just like an activity room or whatever. That was the second hall. So I missed out on a
Yeah.
few walks. That's fine, whatever. I just have to pay attention next time, and that's all
Yeah.
good,
Yeah. I had walked through there once with my wife and we saw the trains, but there wasn't a whole lot of anything going on. It was very quiet in there.
Yeah,
It was like, okay, well, whatever. We came in and we saw this and it's whatever. But apparently there ended up being a lot of action in there, a lot of stuff going on.
yeah,
That's where Tacos had her home base set up.
yeah,
It's
yep,
like, oh
yep,
man,
yep.
we did miss a bunch.
I mean,
But
again, I was right. The activities were happening there, and that wasn't geared towards me. But I would have loved to have seen those other mods. And then I already talked to Tacos. Like I had hung out with Tacos a few of the nights and stuff. So it's like it was cool. It was not the end of the world to miss out. But it would have been cool to see her mocks and stuff. To get like
mhm,
more of a perspective. I'm not a train person. It's a bit
yeah.
controversial. I don't like trains. Trains are boring. I hate that like the building of like a train like as a hobby for older men has translated over to Lego as well. I think they're great. I think they're fantastic. I think they're well done, but they are not my cup of tea. I don't bother with them. But still would have been cool in that moment to go see the trains because that is a big part of any Lego convention is a massive railroad, incorporated into the town and country and a massive city, and all the different kinds of trains and things and all the other builds that surrounded that area. So it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not crazy about trains, but I like bridges and I
Fair,
like
fair.
tunnels.
You know what?
And
Bridges and tunnels are great. Bridge like that's some architecture. I love architecture. I love some good architecture. So if you're able to like build this massive caboose and it fit under because you figured out the Lego mat to create the tunnel, more power to you. Or a
yeah,
bridge that didn't collapse under the weight of it constantly being, having trains, go over it. Fantastic.
yeah,
That's props right there.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. That part of the build is much more entertaining than the train itself. But
I like technique. I gravitate towards technique. I love landscape and I love architecture. So like town and country is fun. Every time somebody has town and country set up in some capacity, or they bring a part of a city and they get a bunch of people to collab. Like I don't care about the modulars that are like your run of the mill that you get at the Lego store. Like I like your custom modulars. I like those. Those are really fun because there's a difference in color, a difference in depth, part usage and things like that, that could go a long way.
yeah, I think I love anything that can be like these days. It's like, oh, well, we're just going to take 3 or 4 of this set and just make the ultimate version of this set.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really like I like it because I want to do the same thing. I just consider that a bit of a modification. Like I feel like something that isn't talked about enough, and I think it gets desensitized by what we were talking about with like LAN, and showcasing products, is not enough love goes to the set designer. Like we don't give
Mm,
enough appreciation because they have to put in so much work. There's such a balance to what they have to do. And when somebody goes and regurgitates a build, to make it better or more refined or more to their liking, I feel like that's like a diss to that individual because they put so much time and effort, into that process. Like I get it. Anything could be improved. Like there's definitely ways, but they made that set with a couple of things in mind that you probably don't have to worry about. They have a brick budget. There's graphics budget. There's a
yeah,
limitation because they have to source the pieces, right? Like that's great that you bought 500 extra parts. They didn't have that. That wasn't the quota. They had to make it feasible so that it fit their job performance, but also became an adequate product that they can churn out and mass produce. Like I love creativity, but if you're just rekindling the same thing that somebody already manufactured and calling it your own, I don't find too much,
Yeah.
with that to be like, that's cool, like it is what it
I, I,
is.
al- I almost feel like it's almost a tribute of sorts. Like, okay, you made this awesome set, but
Yeah,
it's kind of little, which working through, the confines of the company,
right,
checking boxes, I get it. But it's like, I really love this. I just want to supersize it because
right,
I think it's
right,
great on a grander scale. So
absolutely.
I'm going to do it by taking, four of the original and staying true to that and just making it massive. That's not that easy,
No.
right?
No. I mirrored so I built the 3-in-1 haunted mansion and then I mirrored it on the back end. And so
Cool.
what I'm gonna do is close up the roofs at the top essentially, and then I'm gonna put it on a Mills plate. So I get
Awesome.
another like Victorian style like house to go alongside Hocus Pocus and my Tudor corner and things like that. So it's kind of like matching an aesthetic. But I'm not doing anything to change the initial build other than like combining the rooftops. Like, because I don't like open back. That is my
Yeah.
my only real criticism of most Lego sets. But there's an open back because there's a playability aspect.
Yeah.
Again,
That's
this is a
not for
toy.
us.
This is not
Yeah.
for us. This is for kids. And a lot of people are upset when they buy the Up House, Lilo and Stitch house. It's like, why doesn't it have a closed back? It's for the kids. The kids are meant to play with it. So buy a second copy, slap it on the back, close it up, call it a day. That's cool.
It's like the box says 9+.
Right,
That's
right,
why.
right. So yeah, it's just really crazy, and that's fine. I laud that you feel like you need to upgrade, but calling it your own, or like
Yeah.
calling it a mock, I don't think that's the right thing. Like a modification. I call it a modification. You modified the
Yeah.
original build to suit your needs, essentially.
Yeah.
Like and wants.
Yeah. The Friends Botanical Garden is
Yep,
another good example of that.
yep.
It's
I
just
love that set.
taking two and
Yep,
weaving them together.
that is my favorite Friends set. Honestly, I love Friends. It's such a get away from this headspace that mini dolls suck. Like I get it, I understand, but like those
You
sets are
could,
some of the best Lego sets that they come out with. Like I wish City didn't exist and this was City. Like because of
yeah.
just how well it is and how priced it is. Like the introduction of color, the part usage. Like there's so much opportunity, and they just keep coming out with better sets. Like it's amazing.
Hey, did you ever watch BoJack Horseman? Did you ever see
No,
that show?
no. Everybody
Okay.
recommends it, but I never watched it.
Okay. Now, the reason I bring that up isn't necessarily to recommend it, but
Okay.
Bojack's house is on like the side of a cliff or whatever out in
Mhm.
California somewhere. But his house looks just like Andrea's modern mansion,
Oh, that's
the
awesome.
front set.
That's really
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh my god, that looks just like his house. Man, what a great set!
So
Really
that's
good.
another great set too, where I think a simple modification where you removed all of the color paneling, the 1x8 plates and the 1x4 plates, and replace it with white, you would have a cost-effective Tony Stark's Malibu mansion right there.
Okay. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
that's what makes that so great because they easily could have just made the white, and it could have been a city build. There's technically a modern house. It's very similar to it, right? It's more boxy,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
But like that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that set. I was like, this is cute. I love this. I just want to remove a little bit of the color and make it muted. You know what I mean? And like now I have Tony Stark's Malibu mansion essentially, like it works.
You talk about the earlier on. You talked about the garage door piece, the trans
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
I think that's got 4 or 5 different colored pieces of
Yes.
that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is personally my favorite Lego piece.
Nice.
I
Okay.
love it.
Very cool.
I, I love the operation of it.
Yep.
I like the sound that comes
Yeah.
along with it.
The rail, the indented bricks to create the rail so that way you could just bring it up and down. And the fact that friction keeps it up top and it
Yep.
takes only you nudging it just a little bit for gravity to take over. And it doesn't go down like just instantaneously. It actually takes a little bit of time because it's the
Yep.
grooves and everything. Like it's a cool piece. It's 100% a
Yep.
cool piece.
Yeah. So well designed. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
And out of all the trans pieces, I think those take enough of a beating
Oh
without
yeah.
looking terrible, which I appreciate.
Yeah. I I one of my least favorite builds is a bit controversial. Is the Avengers Tower.
Really?
I love the technique that's incorporated in some of the sections, like the roof, like the way that you create the curvature of the brick to create that,
Mhm.
like, and it kind of uses those pieces in a way. But every single one of my trans blue curved and flat window pieces and a chunk of my dark gray translucent like window panels came scratched, and
Oh,
it just took me out. Like I just kept complaining. Everybody was like, report this to like customer service, and they'll send them out to you. And it's like Lego is not sending out these
a whole
parts.
new set.
Yeah, like there's 80 of these pieces, and they are not sending them to me because these are expensive parts, quote unquote, right? Like,
Yeah.
nobody else is reporting this, but like because they were packaged within the plastic bags and stuff, they were scratched up in the process. Even if they were separated, like, and yeah, so the amount of time and effort it took me to build and then get through that essentially and incorporate that, and I just kept looking at the panels and how like scratched up they were and stuff. I just was like, this is the worst. Like and that stemmed from FOMO. That is the set that changed the course of me not getting FOMO for builds, because everybody and their mother said that that was one of the best Lego builds ever, and I didn't even want it. And I was like, you know what? It's Christmas. I'll treat myself. Let me just buy it. Everybody's saying
Oh
it's the
man.
coolest thing ever. And as soon as I dealt with the windows, I was just like, I'm so over this. This is the worst thing
Oh
ever.
man.
Like, took me out. Absolutely took me out. Like,
Yeah. That's a shame because that is not a good price point to be disappointed.
no, no, absolutely not. Like, so Rivendell is my favorite Lego set. And like
Okay.
the build techniques, the color, the display ability, like that's also another metric for why I didn't like the Avengers Tower, is because it's so blue and gray, like it's monochrome, it's your stereotypical New York City skyscraper, you know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
and it's great. It's a great display piece, but it's so bland when I built something like Rivendell. Like Rivendell brought something out, you know what I mean? Because
Yep.
I don't think you need to be a fan of Lord of the Rings to appreciate Rivendell. Like you just have to like
Mhm.
castle, fantasy. It makes a great display piece. It's spread out really well. You don't have to worry about like height, as a factor as much, So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice when things actually fit on a shelf.
Right,
It's
right.
helpful.
Yeah, it's awkwardly just sitting on the edge of this other shelf next to my police station and my apocalypse bird. So it is not conducive in its current spot, like at all.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
want to talk about one thing because you brought this up in last week's thing, real quick.
Mhm.
So you mentioned you were surprised that Brickheads were like on Amazon, even though they're a Lego store exclusive.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up something that a lot of people don't know about, or maybe they do, they're just not familiar with it. Are you familiar with mass arbitrage?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was just because of mass arbitrage. A lot of people buying them up at Lego because it was on sale and selling it to Amazon to make a quick buck. Brickheads should not theoretically be at Amazon because again, it's a Lego store exclusive, but they managed to get it to Amazon, and because Amazon isn't highlighting them as a third-party reseller, it's through Amazon only. They're selling it as a whole, and that's why they have access to it.
So, okay. Now, let me see if I follow what you're saying here. So instead of third-party sellers selling on Amazon, you're
Right.
saying third-party sellers are selling to Amazon?
Yes, yes, yes. That's
Interesting.
why that's why we have an abundance of, like, Digging brought this up, where like, a lot of Lego sets don't truly retire because they show up on Amazon. We had the
Mhm.
A-frame cabin show up a few months ago or weeks ago. That set's been retired. But that's because the people who bought them up the previous year, who have been sitting on the stock and were like, well, this isn't going up, they've just been reselling it back to Amazon. So Amazon has piles of this stuff because it's just been regurgitated from other sources to be resold essentially. So it's their way of getting rid of stuff without it being like, behind like a tax, if you will. Because if you're a third party seller, you put your own price hike on it, right? Like you see a lot of like the pieces, the random sets. Like I'll see a Superstar Destroyer on Amazon, but that's sold from like, a third party seller, right? That's not Amazon, that's a third party seller. But when somebody is selling 50 of like we'll use the brickheads, they're selling it directly to Amazon because Amazon's saying, well, we'll give you like 20, 25 bucks for it instead of like, you getting like $15, $20 from somebody else. And then we'll take care of it. We'll send you the shipping label and the boxes and materials and stuff. And the distribution center will just hold on to it. And then when they find fancy, they'll sell it essentially. And that's why you have these Black Friday deals with random sets that should have been like retired because they shouldn't have this, but it's just getting regurgitated.
Wouldn't it be more likely that they're buying overstock from, say, Costco than Steve?
Yes and no, but Costco stock is so limited. They only get very specific things. You know what I mean? But the reason why I say no is because I've seen plenty of posts from people who are literally going to Costco to buy entire pallets to resell themselves. Like somebody saw at one of their stores a pallet of the Emerald City Wicked set, but it's $100 set. Costco had it for like $79.99, but because it wasn't selling, they dropped it down to 50 bucks. And the guy was like, "I'll take that entire pallet." And they were like, "Okay, so how many pieces do you want?" It's like, "No, I want the entire pallet." And they walked out with the entire pallet. And I bet you, outside of whatever distribution outlets they have, like if they have a storefront, like Facebook Marketplace, anything like that, they got rid of a good chunk of that, probably to Amazon for like 60 bucks, maybe 70 bucks on top, so they were making like $5, $10 each. So that was like, if a pallet had like a couple hundred units, that's a couple $1,000s right there on an easy flip that they don't have to worry about the distribution. Amazon takes care of that. So it's just like, I think it's just the recycling effect, essentially, where you just have people buying mass quantities because they can, and then flipping for that like 10% margin, 20% margin, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wonder. So let me think about that. If
there's resale apps, right, that are focused on you selling back direct to Amazon, like that were shut down. Like if you scroll to like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a dude who got really, really big on TikTok who just went to Ross, who went to Marshall's, kept buying all the toys and going like, "Here, let me show you this app. I'm going to buy all of these for like 10, 15 bucks, but Amazon's paying me $20 for them, $30 for them because they're still retail. And I'm just going to flip them." He got lots of chaff for it because he was effectively just, taking all the goods. Because ironically, Marshall's, Ross, all of those places get all of that stuff from Amazon to sell because Amazon can't get rid of it. But because Amazon is willing to hold on to it because they're a distribution center hub, they'll just take it. And that's what I'm saying. There's like a bit of a loop happening, essentially.
Well, so I work in that world.
Oh, okay.
And most of those guys that you see running around Marshalls and places like that, most of those guys are just out and out frauds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which is tough. But
because of what they do, people latch on and try to do the same thing, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not saying like, Amazon is getting pallets of brickheads. They're maybe getting 5, 10, 15 because Lego stores don't carry a lot of them. And they're not buying tons of quantity online because there's a limit of 5, right? I'm talking about maybe like not necessarily hundreds of units, but if one person is doing it, other people are doing it. And it gradually adds up. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say, is that there is a gradual push where people are following those videos of those individuals. And this also stems into like Lego investing to just push stuff because maybe they can't maximize their profits. Because even though this person said that you're going to get like 100% or maybe 75%, on top, which is not likely because Lego doesn't do that as much. It's very difficult. unless you are that third-party reseller on Walmart or Amazon trying to sell it at that rate, right? So it's just one of those things where people are just cycling it back. So Amazon just gets rid of it, and they can't do anything about it because they're just buying it anyways. They have the distribution hub for it, you know.
Their distribution is wild.
Yeah.
Wild. We were actually talking about it in group earlier today. New York City skyline, 10,000 units in the last month.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that's going to get regurgitated. That's going to get regurgitated back into Amazon. I guarantee it. Like, because it was selling down to like as low as like $25. Like,
and man, I wish we had caught it that cheap.
I'm just throwing out a figurative number because they're using cashback offers, you know, points, credit cards, and things like that, right? That's what they're doing to like get it down, right? But that's not a set that's going to do well because it's been out for almost 10 years, right?
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. It's one of those sets that like, so I think if a Lego set, this is just my headspace because when I got in October 2020, I started to watch a couple of those videos of like, this set is going to do so well because of prior sets doing so well. So by design, this should hypothetically skyrocket in value, no problem. So one of the sets that I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. It's really cheap right now. I'm going to pick up like 4 or 5 copies of, because you know what? I think it's going to do really well. And it was the first Iron Man armory they did. So that way you could put like a bunch of like the suits, right?
Yep.
And everybody and their mother was like, this is like a $60, $70 set. You're going to be able to get it for like 30 to 40 bucks. And it's projected to be $150 in the next 6 months, if not year to 2. It never went back to $48, $60. And it's still like in that price range 5 years later. Yep. Because Lego churned out 3 more iterations of it, different iterations. So you don't want the old one because you want the new one. Because it never went back, right? And it was a set that also was on clearance really early on before its retirement. So the longer a set is on a shelf, the longer it has that like clearance or sales factor attached to it, I see it as more of a negative return because you've had ample opportunity to pick it up for so cheap. The market will not allow it to regulate back to even its MSRP if you're lucky. And you can look at a bunch of retired sets like the last 5 years where they were on deep clearance 6 to 9 months prior to their retirement, or even as soon as they made it out, you know, like as they release. Like look at like a bunch of like the MCU, like all of the Marvel stuff, all the movie centric stuff. A lot of the those sets have barely made it to their MSRP, like as an average, or above slightly, but a lot of them are below. Like it's insane, and that's because their pricing was probably off for those sets at the same time. But the fact that it couldn't regulate and get back to even MSRP says a lot. So that's the thing. Like you are seeing a lot of sets at your stores, right, for like double the price or whatever, because they paid the MSRP, which is ironically what it was selling for, or they paid a little bit below that, and now they're doubling up on their efforts. That's why the convention prices are ridiculous, right? They need to pay for costs of like shipping, being at the venue, their booth, and things like that. There's a considerable hike up. But if you look at Bricklink averages, it's 30% cheaper than that, right? Like it's dramatically less than that, right? So that's the case for a lot of this stuff. New York City Skyline, I think, came out in like 2017. And it's been projected. When I got in 2020, it was projected to retire that year. And then they pushed it back. 21. I picked up like 3 copies for like $30. Because I was like, all right, cool, I'll sit on these. I still have 3 copies. And it's still, you know, $35 right now, $40. It was a $60 set. It will never hit back. It'll hit 60 maybe. And you might find people at conventions trying to sell it for like 100. But you should theoretically be able to pick up that set all day long for like $45, $50, in my honest opinion. Like, there's not enough novelty attached to it, even though it's highlighting New York. to make it like worth more than what it is, right? And like you could look at Bricklink averages as well. I'm sure they'll kind of help fuel that, right? Like if it's been around a long time or if it's had deep clearance, it's not likely to rebound. Bowser, we talked about that, has not seen a deep cut sale. I expect that to double because it's never been on sale, and if it was only like 30 or 40 bucks a couple times. But this could be the next shadow box right here. I don't think it's going to be, but it could theoretically be a shadow box type of set.
I mean, honestly, it's a far better set too.
Right. But I'm just saying there's that random anomaly of a set actually skyrocketing, you know? Because again, if you look back at the last 5 years of a lot of Lego, I'm willing to bet maybe 30-40% of those sets were lucky to make it back to MSRP, and maybe only 25% saw any increase in value after they retired. Like, I think a good number of those sets, like 50% at least, are just going to be rock bottom values, if anything, because of clearance and things like that. Like, another really good indication is Speed Champions. They are the most talked about set when it comes to retiring. Buy 50 of these, buy 75 of these, buy 100 of these. These are going to be super popular. The only reason why you see them for 45, 50 bucks is because a third-party seller bought 100 of them and they're trying to recoup their loss. Majority of them are like $30, you know, back to their MSRP or a couple bucks above. And when they went to 8 wide, only the people wanting the 6 wide are paying huge premiums. Or if it's a Ferrari, those are the big, you know, like, you know, markets, right? Like, but like I had a couple of the Porsches, the Turbo GT, the 6 wide. As soon as that retired, after picking up for like 12 bucks, they went up to like $45. But they've only been 45 bucks in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. They're not, you know, there's no considerable growth, you know? So if you look at a lot of the other Speed Champions, like the Aston Martin, very, very popular, retired last year, you know, that's still like a $25 set, in my honest opinion. And if you're paying,
the zombie stock on that one was wild.
I think because everybody liked that, because it was different, Dom Toretto's Charger actually went up. But people thought that that was the one that was going to flatline and didn't focus on that because it wasn't as unique. They didn't know if we were going to get more Fast and the Furious cars. And what do you know? We have 2 more. I don't think the Fast line is going to do well. And I don't think Suki's car is going to do well because they've been on perpetual discount for like $16, $17 the last like couple months. And they're not slated to retire yet, you know?
Well,
this is what I like to get into.
If the first one wasn't doing well, why would they have kept it around for so long?
Right. And it's crazy because again, going back to New York City skyline, look at Dubai, look at Shanghai, where those shelf lives were considerably shorter. A lot less people went after them, and those have gone up for sure. Those are $100 skylines, like all day long, right? Maybe 75 if you're lucky.
I think it was San Francisco's like 100 and a quarter or something crazy.
I was just about to bring up, like, San Francisco was weird because that was exclusive to Amazon for a long time. And I cleaned out my Amazon storefront because they were like 25, 30 bucks. And like I was getting rid of them for like $60 to $75, like within like 6 to 9 months, like, right? But like I didn't have like 100 of them. I'm not buying 100 of these. I'm buying like 4, maybe 5, you know, because space, you know, and things like that.
Space is a real issue.
Yeah. But yeah, I will sit on stuff. I will speculate on stuff, but it's one of those things where I'm now more focused on retired stuff that I can get for a good rate. Because I'm not hustling this at all. If I have a set that I have no intention of building and a friend missed out on it, I'll mark it up just a little bit because that's what the market dictates. You know, I'll maybe cut them a deal if I've done business. But I just want you to enjoy it because you're going to get way more entertainment out of this than me. I have no space for a city, so I will get rid of the occasional modular, right? But like, I had a used Black Pearl show up on my marketplace like 3 or 4 months ago.
Nice.
Complete. Sales, minifigs, everything. The listing was 3 minutes old, so I immediately messaged, I'm interested. When can we meet up? The price was $200, which is insane
Wow.
because it's like a $500-$600 set all day long,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like used. Ironically, they had an Amazon listing stock image for a sealed copy for $1,000, and they were pricing it at $200. And I was just like, this has to be too good to be true, right? Meet up with them. Everything checks out. It's all Lego. No cracks to the minifigs. Davy Jones is perfect. Sales are perfect. Like, it's got a little dust. I'll clean it up. So I asked them what other Lego they had. And I was like, I got an Ecto 1, like the big Icons car. I was like, oh, sweet. So if Black Pearl was 200, this is probably going to be like 60, 75 bucks. Easy, right? And I'll totally pick that up. I want 400 for it.
What?
I was like, I feel like there was a miscommunication here at some point. Like, this is my headspace where I think the Black Pearl should have been at 400 at some point, and the Ecto 1 was supposed to be at 200. And I don't know if mom and son like just mixed them up, you know? And they were like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm passing on the Ecto. And they're like, all right, no problem. But if you have any other Lego, let me know. I get a message like a month later, and it's like, I've got a Titanic. Do you want a Titanic? And I was like, no, I don't want a Titanic. It's like, I just want 450 for it. And I was like, that's actually not a bad deal. But I'm like, I don't have room for a Titanic, unfortunately. So I had to pass. So yeah, it's weird. I've shifted my focus, if you will, to more marketplace, if anything, because it's just easier. It's just easier, less stress. If I miss out, miss out. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we've seen a couple good ones come through.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to, I don't know, check the people out, make sure that you know what you're getting involved in.
I never pay until I see the stuff in person. Like, I know a lot of people fall for that trap.
Yep.
I took a huge gamble actually when I got back in 2020 because I had learned about Lord of the Rings Lego at that time. So naturally, I went down the rabbit hole. And my marketplace showed a listing out of California of a sealed Tower of Orthanc. And I was like, oh, cool. This is going to be awesome. I definitely want that. And they had it marked at like 250. It's like, okay, well, this is a little sauce. But we're going to do PayPal's good and services. So it's no problem. I'll be protected. It's fine. We talked back and forth because I think his number was 400 or 350 at the time, but I managed to get him down. And then I paid like 20 bucks for like shipping and stuff. A few weeks later, we do the transaction. A few weeks later, I get a package and it's there. And I was like, okay, cool. This is real. This is 100% real. But I recorded me opening it for future content on don't do this if you go and buy something on Facebook Marketplace because you might get screwed over. You know what I mean? But fortunately, I had PayPal. It was there. Completely mint, sealed in the box, perfect. I was like, this is the greatest pickup of all time, right? Like I am beyond stoked. But I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep it sealed, right? Like I'm not gonna build this. I think 6 months later, I was like, I'm building it. I have to make sure this is real. This is legit. Everything's there, 100% mint, like brand new. I had a little bit of brittle brown. That was about it. But yeah, I use that as kind of like a template of like expectation, you know, like because not all deals are gonna run like that, especially on Marketplace. You just never know. They could have shipped me a box of peanuts for all I know. You know what I mean? Like, and I would have had to go through PayPal, right? Like, it was insane. But single-handedly, my best deal right there in that moment.
All right. Well, while we're on a high note there, because that is a win, we should probably start to wrap.
Yeah,
it's
no worries,
midnight and a half. The kids are going to be hollering in about 6 hours. So
no worries. I appreciate you letting me on, man. Thanks for letting me ramble.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming and hanging out. This has been great. Yeah,
we'll have to do it again.
I will. Yeah, for sure. And I will be trying to hunt you down at Brick World.
Since, there you go. Yeah. Oh, we'll definitely meet up. We'll definitely meet up for sure. For sure.
Right on. But that is unfortunately not for another 7 months, which is hard.
I need time.
So we're getting some fig shoots for some lobby hangout time since they have that awesome setup there. So come launch some parachutes with us. It'll be a good time.
Definitely, absolutely.
Right on. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you hanging out. I will see you around the socials.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Night.